4 times last year he relieved Dan Fouts, and in 3 of those games he threw for over 300 yards, and that's nothing to sneeze at.
He had a tremendous second half against the Chiefs a week ago. Very effective in relief.
Oh, his statistics were unbelievable for the second half. I think he was 18 of 31 for over 180 yards. So he really had a remarkable second half for the San Diego Chargers.
And for Philadelphia last week, a tough loss to Dallas. They started Matt Cavanaugh at quarterback, then relieved with Randall Cunningham. Today it'll be Ron Jaworski, the veteran.
Yes, Jaws, as they call him here in Philadelphia. He's the heart and soul of this Philadelphia Eagle team. He's Mr. Enthusiasm, and yesterday in talking with him, he was really pumped up, and he said he is ready to play this game.
All right, it is still raining as we get set for kickoff. 59 degrees, and the forecast is for more of the same, Dave, so it's going to be wet down there all day.
Well, it certainly will, and the weather should play a factor in this game. It's going to be hard to pass the ball, and we have a good, steady downpour going on right now.
Paul McFadden getting set to kick off for Philadelphia. As you take a look at the coaches, Don Coryell in his rain gear on the sideline, the only coach ever in the history of football to win 100 games at the collegiate level and 100 at the professional level. And on the other side of the field, Buddy Ryan getting ready for his troops. He's got the headset on there behind a couple of his players. He was very congenial yesterday at practice. McFadden kicks off, and we're underway. Wyatt is getting set a yard deep. And he is run down as he crosses the 20 to about the 22-yard line. And that's where the Chargers will put it in play, 1st and 10. And as we mentioned, it'll be Herman at quarterback. Also, Tremaine Johnson, number 83, will replace Wes Chandler, who is out with an injured foot. The rest of those names you're familiar with. On the offensive line, Jim Leonard starting at center, and he replaces the veteran Don Masick, who is out with an injury. Anderson and Spencer are the backs behind Herman. And that is Anderson in motion, and he's the guy that they like to use in all phases of this offense. Herman to throw. Flag is down, and so is Herman. It was Reggie White who got to him. They put White outside, Dave, this week. Thought he might be able to get more sacks.
Right. He has made the switch from defensive tackle out to defensive end, and he put a lot of pressure on Mark Herman. But it was interesting as we see the defensive line and the lineups for the Eagles that immediately Herman came out and decided he wanted to pass.
Singletary, the rookie, at right tackle, and that made White move outside. And the linebackers, all of them good. Reichenbach calls the defensive signals. Johnson, the rookie. It was a holding penalty against the Chargers as you look at the secondary for the Eagles.
And Kevin, one of the things that prompted that move of moving Reggie White outside is that they said every time they put Singletary in there, he did something exciting. So they tried, but he said, we're going to see how young that young boy can play. We're going to see how well he plays.
2nd and 16 after a loss of 6. McGee is in there for the Chargers, and that pass is complete on the outside of Winslow up near the 25-yard line. Alonzo Johnson, number 54, the rookie we talked about, making the tackle. You know, Dave, Winslow is not quite where he was in 1980 through 84, but he's still coming back off that major knee surgery very well.
Well, it takes a long time to come back in this league when you have an injury as severe as Kellen Winslow. He tore his knee up, and a lot of players wouldn't have come back. He worked very hard, and it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think this year is going to be as productive, but if he comes back next year, he'll really be ready to play.
Timmy Ware is into the lineup for San Diego, number 81, at one of the wide receiver spots as they look at a 3rd and 9. And they'll run it with Anderson. And he is stockpiled as he crosses the 27-yard line, well short of the 1st down, and that'll force a punting situation.
And that's a trademark of a Buddy Ryan defense, is that quick pursuit to the ball. They play that 34 defense, and then they come back with the 46, the famed Chicago 46, and they move so quickly to the ball. They've got a good set of linebackers in Cobb Reichenbach and Alonzo Johnson, and they really did get to the ball quickly, brought up this 4th down in a punting situation.
Ralph Moshenko, you see what he's done this year, averaging better than 42 yards a kick, a left footer out of Michigan State. And he'll punt it away for the Chargers. Evan Cooper standing deep for the Eagles at about his 32-yard line. And he hangs it up for Cooper at about the 33. And Cooper's across the 40, dropped at about the 44-yard line. Dennis McKnight there to make the tackle, number 60 for the Chargers, in Philadelphia in business with great field position. 1st down at the 44 as you look at the offensive team that will come on behind Ron Jaworski. Charles Crawford, number 45, at the running back. He's replaced Keith Byers each of the last 2 weeks. So we'll see how effective he'll be. Now the offensive line, Matt Darwin, the rookie at center. That's always something to watch, a rookie at center. First down for the Eagles. And the whistle blows as Jaworski was going to pass, and perhaps the 30-second clock ran out on him.
Well, the 30-second clock is unlit right now, so maybe in fact it did. He made a call on the line. They're calling an illegal motion, but he made an adjustment on the line and quickly caused a little bit of confusion with his offensive people.
Buddy Ryan says, if you call me coach, I'll call you player. I guess that pretty well says it. Defensively for the Chargers, Lee Williams is their leading sack man, but watch for Leslie O'Neal. He's the rookie out of Oklahoma State. Billy Ray Smith, their most active linebacker, number 54. First and 15 now as you look at the Chargers secondary. And Jaworski will give it to Crawford. Straight up the middle he goes as he got back near the original line of scrimmage. Terry Unrein, number 98, was there to make the stop.
And that's going to be one of the matchups that we watch here. Unrein is a rookie, and he's going against Matt Darwin, who's a rookie at center. So that should be a good matchup. That nose tackle takes a lot of experience, a lot of time to learn that position. And he's doing very well in his rookie year.
Keith Byers has entered the Eagles lineup, so Crawford carries once and he's out of there, and Byers is in there. And it'll be interesting to see how that foot still affects Byers, even though we're near the midpoint of the season. That is Byers in motion. And Jaworski gives it to Haddix. And he gets a couple before he's wrestled down near the sideline. Earl Wilson was there, number 93 for the Chargers, the second-year man out of Kentucky.
You can see he's wanting a towel. What that motion was, holding up the hands there. The field is very wet. It's got puddles all across the field on both sides of the hash marks. You can see it in your picture down to the right part of your screen, the lower part. So there's a lot of puddles out there. They did try to drain it off with this machine that sucks up water, but in the downpour, it's tough.
They'll go out of the shotgun. Junior Tatalatasi is in there for the Eagles, number 37, at one of the running back spots on 3rd and long. Situation where sometimes they'll bring Cunningham in. The blitz coming. Jaworski dumps it off to Haddix, but he is gathered in at the 45. Jeff Dale was there to meet him, and the blitz was coming strong that time as the Chargers breaking free. Billy Ray Smith also over there on the tackle on Haddix, but the Eagles will have to punt it away.
Well, that's not what they wanted to do in this first series. They got good field position out at almost the 45-yard line, and they didn't move it 3 yards. They have got to have better offensive production.
Ron Jaworski was telling us yesterday he felt indeed they would be able to move the ball, but the Charger defense wins round 1. And John Telchik out of Texas will come on to punt it away, and Gary Anderson has dropped deep for the Chargers, and he can do just about everything you ask of a football player. Anderson can. Telchik really hanging it up there. He fumbles it inside the 10, and he's able to cover it at the 8. So Anderson, he's exciting no matter what he does.
He ducked that time, and two Eagles hit themselves, and they're down.
We're scoreless. We'll return to Veterans Stadium in a moment. In Philadelphia, Kevin Slayton along with Dave Rowe. 11 minutes remaining in the first quarter. San Diego and Philadelphia with each team having one possession, Dave, and neither able to make a first down.
Well, a lot of people ask who has the advantage in a rain game like this, rain coming down. Some people think that it's the offense because they've got the ability to know where they're going and run the routes. Some people think it's the defense. We're going to find out here in a little while in this game.
You saw what the Chargers have done without Fouts over the last 3 years, 3-9. He's out with that concussion. This is Spencer trying to come straight up the middle for the Chargers, and he gets to the 10-yard line before he's run down. Alonzo Johnson, number 54, was there, along with Reichenbach, the middle linebacker, number 55, whom Buddy Ryan sometimes calls Rock'em-back.
Rock'em-back. One of the things I was going to make mention of, Kevin, as the fans look at this game, the philosophy of your offense really changes in a game like this. Now, San Diego has a disadvantage because they are a passing team. But Philadelphia has a little bit of advantage because they've got some great running backs. But Gary Anderson, he can do anything. He can run or pass for the Chargers.
Buford McGee, number 21, has come into the game for the Chargers. Herman will throw it on 2nd down. Down the middle he goes for Anderson. He's double covered. Roynell Young was back to number 43 along with Terry Hogue, the free safety, number 34. And Herman, I think, just wanted to overthrow everybody and make sure it wasn't picked off.
Well, he certainly did. You'll see Anderson come into your picture. Look at the 3 Eagles reacting now. 2 of them are playing deep coverage. 34 is Hogue, and 34 is not Hogue. That is Terry Hogue, excuse me. And the other defensive back reacting back to the ball thrown real high. But you can see how they really don't have the ability to make those sharp cuts in this rain-soaked field.
3rd and 7 for the Chargers. Timmy Ware, number 81, into the Charger lineup at one of the wide receiver spots. He is here because Wes Chandler is injured. Jermaine Johnson starting in place of Chandler. Gorman with time. Underneath he goes, and it's knocked away by Evan Cooper, number 21, the third-year player. It was intended for Johnson. And Cooper, who teams have been picking on, responds to his first test.
And this is a big turnaround for the Eagles because they know they are going to get the ball within the 50-yard line. They're going to have excellent field position when they in fact recover this, or I should say catch this punt. They may put a lot of pressure as you see him come off here. This is a dump off right here. That's to Trumaine Johnson. That's just a dump off, just last person he looks at. But they are going to get excellent position here. They may in fact really come after the punter in this situation.
Moishenko getting set in his own end zone. And Cooper has dropped back at the midfield stripe. Good time for Moishenko, if you're a Charger fan, to really let it go. And he kicks a low one. Cooper lets it bounce and now fields it at the 50 and slips and falls, where he is immediately covered by Billy Ray Smith, who was down there, along with Andy Hawkins, number 59. 39-yard punt, a 3-yard return. 10:05 remaining in the first quarter. We're scoreless. Our score, we are scoreless with 10:05 remaining in the first quarter, and the Eagles will have it outside the Charger 46 first down as we check the 10-minute ticker around the rest of the NFL action.
A lot of field goals being kicked early in these games.
New England over Buffalo, no surprise there. The other game's just starting, but there's a surprise of sorts. Tampa Bay leading Kansas City in the first quarter. Set to go here. First down, the Eagles at the Charger 46-yard line. This is Crawford. Tries to get to the outside. Flag is down. Crawford turns the corner inside the 40. Billy Ray Smith was there, but we'll check the flag.
And where that flag is thrown, it is almost always holding on the end man on the line, a tight end. And I think it's going to be against Spagnuolo in that position. He comes down the line. He has got to get a hook on the outside linebacker, who in this case was Billy Ray Smith, and I don't believe he did it legally.
Holding, number 88, offense, still first down.
You have a crystal ball?
Well, I know what that position is. When that referee throws that flag, he's watching the tight end come off the line of scrimmage, and that outside linebacker is fighting to keep containment, and a lot of times that tight end will get his arm out there and hook him, and that's what the call was.
Well, that negates an 8-yard run by Crawford and moves them back to their own 43, where, as you saw, it is 1st and 20. And the inside handoff to Haddix over the left side, and he's tripped up as he gets near midfield. Gil Byrd came up from his free safety spot, number 22, to make the stop on Haddix, but he didn't even get back to the original line of scrimmage.
And that time, if the Chargers were in a blitz that time, and if Byrd does not get Haddix, Haddix is off to the races because he was the last man. But Gil Byrd, he is one of the stalwarts back there. He started all the games last year, and he started them all this year. He is one of the strengths at that safety position. Came up, made a nice tackle in the middle of the field.
Byers into the game for the Eagles now as they look at 2nd and 13. Jaworski to throw. Rushed heavily, and he dumps it off to the tight end over the middle at about the 45-yard line. Spagnuolo made the catch. Jaworski, Dave, I think, was hit just as he let go of it.
He certainly was. And it's interesting to note that Jaworski loves to go back to his favorite receivers. All quarterbacks have those favorite receivers that they can really depend on, and he really loves going to John Spagnuolo. He's a tight end. He's a big target at about 6'5", and he runs that little curl pattern where he just runs down about 8 or 10 yards and turns around, and it's hard to miss a 6'5" guy standing out there, weighs 250 pounds.
5 defensive backs in there, 4 receivers for the Eagles. Out of the shotgun on 3rd and long. Jaworski fires it outside to Haddix. He has the first down before he's run out of bounds by Jeff Dale, number 37, the second-year man out of LSU. But Haddix has a first down, and that is the initial first down of this game for either team, and it comes with 8:17 left in the first quarter.
And a lot of people question why they run the shotgun formation. This is exactly the reason that they run it, because it doesn't allow the quarterback to have to go back, pedaling back, running back from the center and setting up and picking up the defense. That time the Chargers had a blitz on. Jaworski was standing about 7 yards off the line of scrimmage, had time to pick up Haddix out of the backfield. The result is a first down.
Haddix with his 17th catch of the year out of that backfield, so he's a busy man. Jaworski to the air on first down, and Spagnuolo can't hang on. Jeff Dale was there.
Now, Not often do you see John Spagnola miss a catch like this. The ball was thrown a little bit behind him. You're going to see him come from the right of your screen into the picture. Jaworski picks him up going down the middle. Now there he is. Now watch. The ball's just a little bit behind him. It slips out. That's the difference with a wet ball. He just never was able to get his hand on that ball. Now, in fairness, the referees do change the ball every time, so they're bringing in pedaling dry balls back and forth. But you can see the rain in the picture there. It's quite a wet day here in Philadelphia.
Jeff Dale made sure that Spagnola could not hang on to it. Byers back in there for the Eagles on 2nd and 10. But the lone setback is Haddix. And now they're going to gun it down to the outside, and great defensive work by Ken Taylor. It was intended for Ron Johnson, but Taylor kept his body in between Johnson and the ball.
Now you can hear the Philadelphia fans in the background. They don't think that it was. There is a flag down on the play.
It's on the far side near the line of scrimmage at the 35.
It's going to be encroachment or offsides.
And it'll work against the Chargers.
Hey, you like that? I called 2 in a row like that. That's a needless penalty. Defensive linemen are supposed to line up on the ball.
Offsides. Number 32, defense.
Donald Brown, the cornerback, was offside.
Right, he was coming up to blitz, and when he came up in his exuberance to get up there, he stepped into what they call the neutral zone, the both ends of the ball. No one's allowed to violate that territory. He had his foot in bounds and really caused a heck of a play again to go against this Charger team early. They made a great defensive play there.
Well, it makes 2nd and 5 out of 3rd and 10. That's what it would have been had the play stood. And the toss comes back to Haddix. He turns it upfield and is tripped up inside the 25-yard line. Vincey Glenn made the tackle, and he's stunned a bit. He's still down. But Haddix has another first down for the Eagles.
Coaches love to know what the courage of a defensive back is. Now watch 25 in your picture. He has to come up and fill. There's Vincey Glenn, breaks down. Now watch, he takes that shot. He hits him right at the knees, and he takes that knee right in the forehead. I'll tell you, he went to the sidelines too. He is not feeling well. He's on the far sidelines, bent over.
First down for the Eagles as they march inside the 25 of the Chargers, now at the 23-yard line. Ron Jaworski told us yesterday he felt his offense could move. Byers with his first carry, and he doesn't get very far. Gained a couple before Gary Plummer, number 50, the linebacker, dropped in. Let's check the 10-minute ticker again, and Dave, still some field goals out there.
A lot of field goals out there.
Indianapolis has tied Miami at 7 in the first quarter.
And then Miami always has trouble when they play on AstroTurf. Since they've taken the turf out of their stadium, they have a terrible time playing on turf. And they're playing that game, in fact, in Indianapolis.
I noticed where Green Bay took the early lead over the 49ers. Green Bay starting to feel their oats after that victory. 2nd and 8 now for the Eagles. Jaworski to the air. Outside for Byers, but he overthrew him, and Ken Taylor was right with him, number 24 for the Chargers.
Well, I've been impressed with Ken Taylor in just this early part of this game. He's playing man-to-man coverage on the back, swinging out of the backfield, and he has to run with the likes of Byers and, of course, Crawford, and he's done a good job.
Just a second-year man out of Oregon State who they signed as a free agent this year. Jaworski was telling us yesterday, Dave, that San Diego plays inconsistent defense because they have a lot of fronts. You guys had a lot of fronts when you were with Oakland, didn't you?
No, we played about 3 different fronts, and we said, come out and see if you can beat us. And I think Jaworski liked that when I turned around and said, that's my kind of football, and that's Buddy Ryan's kind of football, too.
Out of the shotgun they go with 4 wide receivers and 5 defensive backs. Chargers may have been offside. Flags are down, and it's knocked down, incomplete. Thomas Benson was there, number 57. It was intended for Greg Garrity.
And the Chargers just made a crucial mistake. What they did is they went on voice. Jaworski has excellent voice control. He got back there, and in using that cadence, they've been going on 2. He came out there and went hut, hut, real loud, and the Chargers were drawn offside. It wasn't 1 person, it was about 4 or 5.
Offside, defense, number 91. Still 3rd down.
They always pick on the rookie, don't they? Leslie O'Neal is the man they're going to single out.
Well, that was a free play for Jaworski, and watch this. You'll see. Now, there's the voice inflection. He knows he's drawing him offside. He saw the movement. Now he can gamble. He's back here. He knows this is a free play. Even if he throws an interception, he has a chance to bring it back because he saw the defense jump off sides.
It'll remain 3rd down, but now it's 3rd and 3. John Sullivan, number 33, comes into the Chargers secondary. And Junior Tatalatuzzi is in there for Philadelphia. Number 37 at one of the running back spots, out of the shotgun again. And he overthrows Junior because Billy Ray Smith was sitting there waiting.
Well, that's a timing pattern. Jaworski is upset with himself. I can just read it in his face. He knows that that pass should have been completed. He had time to find it. Now they're going to have to settle for a field goal try.
And McFadden, he of the bare foot, will come in for a 33-yard attempt. He missed one from 31 yards last week, and as it turns out, it cost the Eagles a shot at overtime. There's the bare foot.
Look at the foot in the water. You can see when he walks, the water sloshing up. I'll bet that's cold out there. Another month when it's about 30 degrees here in Raynham, he might put a sock on.
Yeah, I was going to say he needs a sock. 2 of 3 from this distance on the year for McFadden. Of course, the miss was last week. He knocks that one right through there from 33 yards out, and the Eagles first on the board with 6:28 left here in the first quarter, and they lead the Chargers 3-0 here in Veterans Stadium. We'll be back with more after this. Prettiest of days in Philadelphia. It's been raining all morning. Kevin Slayton along with Dave Rowe. Glad you could join us as the Eagles have scored first on a 33-yard field goal from Paul McFadden to take the lead over the Chargers 3-0 with 6.5 minutes left in the first quarter. And McFadden getting set to kick it off. Spencer and Wyatt have dropped deep for the Chargers. And this will be Spencer at the 2. Oh, and he is level as he gets near the 20-yard line. Anthony Toney, the rookie running back, was down there on special teams to drop him after an 18-yard return.
I don't know why they don't let a ball like that go into the end zone. On a wet field like this, there's a lot of things that can happen. The ball can be fumbled. It's wet. And he's out there trying to run it back. Now you can see that the 20-yard line is kind of the magic marker. You get it out to the 20 if you don't even touch it, and he takes it on about the 1 yard and runs out to the 20 with the possibility of a fumble.
Double tight ends for the Chargers right now. Holohan is in there. Buford McGee in the backfield, number 21, and Herman will throw it on first down. He has to dump it to McGee, and he's drilled on the outside. A flag is down. It was Andre Waters, number 20, coming up out of the strong safety spot to really hammer McGee.
Now this is going to be a holding call. It's going to go against the Chargers. They have had terrible field position so far. And Herman is not really dropping back his normal 7 to 9 yards. He's dropping about 5 or 6 yards and trying to pick up those quick receivers. And you can see right here. Now watch how quickly he drops. Now right there he's set up. That's about 5 to 6 yards off the line of scrimmage. And you can see the pressure. There's the hold and the well, it's kind of it. You can't really see it. He gets stepped on and down he goes.
He's been getting the time, Dave, but he hasn't been able to find the receivers open. And that was a problem earlier in the year for the Chargers. They just didn't have anybody open downfield. And when you're covering those kind of people, you're doing a good job. He tries to flip it outside and give a lot of credit defensively that time to Dwayne Giles, number 53, who was step for step with Anderson.
And Mike Reichenbach, 55, really put pressure on Mark Herman. He looks a little confused right now as to what to run. Now watch Reichenbach there, 55. He's on a dead blitz. You can see the pressure he gets, and Herman sees him right there, and he almost comes up with the play.
I'll tell you what, if Giles had been able to turn around, it would have come right to him. He'd have walked across the goal line.
When you can get that much pressure on, your entire offensive philosophy changes because you can't get the patterns 12 to 15 yards downfield. 2nd
and 20 facing the Chargers. Herman gunning it out for Tremaine Johnson. Great timing on the pattern. He's wrestled down near the 25 by Evan Cooper. And he is short of the first down.
And that time he was on a safety blitz. This ball was actually thrown before Tremaine Johnson turned around. You'll see it now. He's going to make an outbreak. And the ball is on its way. Watch how quickly he just puts his hands out, and there it is, an excellent throw by Mark Herman.
Good enough for 13 yards, and the Chargers will look at a 3rd down situation as Timmy Ware and Charlie Joyner enter the game at the wide receiver spots. Ware 81 and reverse it for Joyner 18.
A lot of people think that Tremaine Johnson is the heir apparent to Charlie Joyner's spot.
3rd and 7 for Mark Herman. They still don't have a first down. He has time, and he guns it for Joyner, and it's knocked away at the last second. Great defensive work from Albert Fowles, the 4th-year man out of Alcorn State.
What an excellent recovery. Charlie Joyner was running out there, was on a crossing pattern, and he was open, and Fowles just came in there and just, now watch at the top of your screen, you'll see Fowles. He's got a man-to-man, 29. Now he's beaten, but watch this effort. One hand in there. That's the difference on that play.
The Chargers, a team that racked up 35 first downs a week ago against Kansas City, still don't have a first down, and 5:20 remains here in the first quarter. Cooper has dropped deep to field Moshenko's punt, his third of the day. Penalties have been killing the Chargers on both offense and defense. A low snap, here they come. He steps up and did a great job just to get rid of it. Cooper fields it on the bounce, steps inside, flag is down as he gets close to midfield. Another flag comes flying in. Wayne Davis was down there to make the tackle. Now a third flag is back near the original line of scrimmage. And you need a traffic cop to just watch the flags.
Well, Moshenko did a fantastic job. We'll have to cipher out exactly what the flags are, but Moshenko did an unbelievable job because he knew that punt was going to be blocked, and he faked the defensive player that was coming across in front of him, stepped up and had the foresight to get off a kick.
Dennis McKnight, the guilty party on the low snap that started things rolling on the play.
Well, you've got one of the best referees in the business out there, Pat Haggerty. He's the man with the black hat. I've got a tremendous amount of respect for him. He is one of the most, he really keeps the game in total control, and he's going to figure out exactly what happened.
Foul. Number 32, pushing it back. Personal foul, number 90. On the run back also.
He got it straightened out, but it was a little confusing.
But one thing that he does now, they're pointing back because they're saying, hey, wait a minute, there was a flag way back there. Now, whose was that on? That's what they're discussing now, I should say. But one thing that Pat Haggerty does is he keeps control of the game with the players, the linemen.
And here he comes to tell us what that flag way back at the 30-yard line was all about.
Well, everybody has to get their flag mentioned. I think we're going to re-kick it. That's what I think.
We had a double foul after the change of possession. The flag on the line of scrimmage, disregard that one. We had two downfield. So that means that we will put the ball in play here. First and 10, ready to go.
Okay, Pat.
he summarized it pretty well.
Now watch this kick by Moshenko. This is really interesting. Now you'll see the pressure coming from the right. He sees it. It's a bad snap. Now watch right here. He sees the pressure, fakes him out. Now there's the defender coming around the back, and he gets that punt just barely off. That was an excellent play by him.
It was Cooper that was close to blocking it, and many punters don't notice that guy coming, David. They'll just kick it right into him.
Yeah. Well, he had the foresight to see that man. He felt the pressure. He knew it messed up his timing. That punt has got to get off in about 2.2 seconds. If it doesn't get off in 2.2 seconds, you're going to have it blocked as we look there at the 10-minute ticker. I love this 10-minute ticker. Kind of keeps you on all the games so you don't have to change channels and look around. You just can stay right here, and you know it's going to come up every 10 minutes.
And there it is. Green Bay still ahead of San Francisco. Kansas City going ahead of Tampa Bay now. I'll tell you what, the Chiefs 4-3 going into today, and if that replay decision had gone the other way for them in the Raider game, they'd be looking at 5-2, heading for 6-3.
Well, I saw Art McNally out in the hallway here before the game, and now he is the head official. We aren't going to have any instant replay problems today.
Eagles lead at 3-0, and they start first down just across their own 42. Here's Crawford, the rookie. Straight up the middle. Great yardage for Crawford. All the way down to the Charger 44 where a fumble. But the officials are going to blow it dead, I believe. Gil Bird made the tackle after a 12-yard pickup. They're still wrestling for it, but look who's got it.
Well, you know, that's Buddy Ryan style football. That's what he did when he was with Philadelphia, with the Chicago Bears, and that's what he wants to get here in Philadelphia. Rock'em, sock'em type football. Now watch this. The last second, you just put down your head. There's the fumble. The ball comes out, but of course he came back up with the ball, and he was down there wrestling hard.
Crawford, the rookie out of Oklahoma State, was taken in the supplemental draft when there was some question that came up regarding his eligibility at Oklahoma State. He just decided to heck with it. I'll head on to the NFL. And here's Byers in trouble. Billy Ray Smith was first through there.
Well, Haddix is supposedly known for his blocking, and that time he totally missed his block. He is known as a strong blocker. Buddy Ryan said that he is the blocker on this football team, the back that's going to block that outside linebacker, and that time he just absolutely got crushed.
And that'll give him a seat on the bench pretty quick in Buddy Ryan's scheme of things. He was talking about it yesterday. If they don't block, anybody can run the ball, but if they don't block, they're going to sit down.
That's exactly right.
5 defensive backs in there for the Chargers now as The Eagles operate inside Charger territory at the 48. Second down. They'll give it to Byers. He wants to get outside, but he's surrounded by maroon jerseys. Gil Byrd, number 22, and Billy Ray Smith, number 54, both in there. And Billy Ray Smith has had a very active game at that linebacker spot. And now Cunningham is going to come in for the Eagles at quarterback on 3rd and long. And this is something that very controversial, Dave, to say the least.
Well, it is controversial because he comes in on 3rd down and long situations. In this situation, of course, it's 14 yards to go. But he doesn't have a chance to warm up. He comes in there with the theory that he's going to make the big play. He's got a greater ability to run with the ball, and that's what the Chargers have to be aware of, his scrambling ability.
A loss of 2 on the play. And on 3rd down, Cunningham. Now he's going to take off. He dives inside the 40-yard line. Billy Ray Smith there, and a flag comes flying in for perhaps a late hit. He was short of the 1st down, and that's what it's going to be.
Now, this is a controversial call because what happened is the quarterback has 2 options when he runs. If he slides feet first, you cannot touch him. If he dives forward, you're allowed to come in and hit him. I think what they're going to call is a personal foul. But watch on the tail end of this play. Now, if he slides in feet first, that's what they call the give up. He's not allowed. No one's allowed to touch him. But he doesn't. He dives forward, and you'll see the late hit come in. Now, right here, there's the dive forward. He's down. Now, there's the late hit come in right there. And he looked as if he was going for the ball.
It appeared as though the ball may have popped loose.
Yeah.
And Vincey Glenn was diving in, heading for the football. But nonetheless, that's not what matters as Jaworski comes back in at quarterback. 1st down for the Eagles at the 25-yard line of the Chargers. Jaworski to the air. Down the middle, overthrown and intercepted by Gil Byrd at the 5. And he's dropped immediately at the 10-yard line. It looked like he wanted Mike Quick.
He did, in fact, want Mike Quick coming across on a post pattern, which is run towards the goal post. Jaworski made a poor decision.
Gil Byrd with his 5th interception in his last 5 games. 3-0 Eagles. We're coming back to Philadelphia. Kevin Slayton along with Dave Rowe, and here's a look at Jaworski's interception.
Now, what happened on Jaworski, he was going to throw out here to his right. At the last second, he picks up Quick, but he doesn't see Gil Byrd, 22, come in there, who picked off the interception.
All right, the Chargers starting out in bad field position again. Herman to the air right away. For Winslow, a great catch at the 30, and he's hammered as he gets to the 35, and that is the initial 1st down of the game for San Diego. Hogue and Cooper combining to bring the big tight end down.
And Kellen Winslow didn't like that last little push in his throat, but that really helps him because he needed this play. But watch how far he stretches out here. The pocket kind of collapses. Now look right there, way out on the fingertips. You can see this, the size that he has out there running. He is a big tight end, and he can really run fast. That's probably the biggest key. He's a 6'6", 6'5" man, but he runs about 4.7 40-yard dash speed.
25-yard pickup on the play, and here goes McGee over the right side. McGee fumbles the ball. Anderson was over there for San Diego.
I almost didn't think that was a fumble. I thought it was a toss the way it came out there. The way Gary Anderson was kind of trailing around that play, it looked as if it may have been, in fact, the old Fleeficker play where you run along and toss it.
An option play off the wishbone, maybe, huh?
Let's take a look at this again. See, Gary Anderson's going to be trailing. He's kind of to the right of your left of your screen, and as he comes out here, now watch, right there's the toss. And Gary Anderson's number 40 out here. He just misses it, but that was a set play.
Interesting as they give it that shot. Of course, Roynell Young was right there to hammer Anderson if he would have been able to come up with it. Picked up only a couple, and on 2nd down, Herman will go right back to the air for Winslow again. He has another 1st down. Alonzo Johnson brings him down. A flag is down near the Charger 45. Now, he picked up the 1st down, so we'll wait and see what the call is.
Now, you probably want to know what this call is before he calls it, don't you?
Well, you've known all of them as we check the 10-minute ticker again. I'm going to start asking you to predict these scores pretty soon. Steelers shutting out the Bengals. And New Orleans over the Jets. That would be a major upset.
It certainly would be, especially after the Jets won their big game last week.
Look at Green Bay. 14-0 over the 49ers.
Offensive pass interference. Number 18. Still 2nd down.
The veteran Charlie Joyner got caught cheating.
Now, you wouldn't think Charlie would do that, but what he did is he picked on the play. It's kind of like the old basketball pick where you kind of brush off one man and the other man comes clear. And there is a referee that is way back, and he watches those wide receivers that they don't, in fact, do those pick plays.
Once again, penalties just killing the Chargers. They have picked up the first down, and now it's second and long, and Herman guns it for Anderson, who takes a lick from Terry Hogue, and it's incomplete. Free safeties love to see that, don't they?
Well, they do, especially when they're back there just playing center field, just watching the quarterback's eyes. Now, Mark Herman has had a stigma in the past of not looking off his wide receivers. He kind of just gears it right in. Now, you'll see the tail end of the touch on Gary Anderson there. He gets quite a shot. But Mark Herman has the stigma, as I said, of not looking off. In other words, a great quarterback will look off to one of his wide receivers and all of a sudden come back to his primary receiver and throw the pass. Herman a lot of times watches the receiver he's going to throw to all the way down the field.
On 3rd and 19, Herman underneath to Tremaine Johnson. He fumbles the ball, and the Eagles have it. Inside the 30, it's Bernard Wilson.
Well, again, we talked about the fact that the rain could play an important factor. This is the wet ball fumble. The worst place you can get hit is from the back. Now watch here. Reach around the back. There's the hand. The ball comes free. You can see it, in fact, splashing around in the water. A big turnover for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Looked like it may have been Gary Cobb who got the big hand in there to knock it away. And now the Eagles, boy, the Charger offense has just sputtered so far.
Well, this entire game has been played in the Chargers area field. I don't think that they've been across, other than that penalty play, they have not been across midfield the entire first quarter.
Do you try to hit him deep on this play after the turnover?
Jaworski's got the ability to do that.
First down, Eagles. He's in trouble, and he's dropped. Lee Williams, the leading sack man for the Chargers, gets number 6.5. As he drops him.
And this is an interesting play because Jaworski was going to do a naked reverse. All the action is going to go to your left on the screen. You'll see he's going to just fly out here, but it doesn't fool Lee Williams, number 99, and he in fact gets Jaworski. He's got containment. That's why he's there for that one play in case that quarterback or reverse comes back that way, and he played it very, very well.
Third-year man from Bethune-Cookman, another supplemental draft choice that has really proved out to be a very good one for the Chargers. 2nd and 16 after Jaworski loses 6. Junior Tatalatasi in there now for the Eagles. And there he is, and he drops the ball. Thomas Benson, number 57, was there to cover him. So it'll force the Eagles into 3rd and 16.
What's Buddy Ryan called Junior Tattoo, or what's
Junior Smith?
Junior Smith, that's what Buddy Ryan calls him.
Randall Cunningham in at quarterback for the Eagles, and Vincey Glenn comes in the secondary for the Chargers. But I like Buddy's interpretation of his last name better.
Now watch and see if the Chargers don't make an adjustment this time and not allow Randall Cunningham to run. They should keep one of their linemen right in front of him so he doesn't have that ability to scramble.
He's in trouble, and down he goes. Got all the pressure from the outside, and Dee Hardison was the man, the 9-year veteran out of North Carolina, that dropped him. I don't think Cunningham ever saw it.
No, he didn't. What the Chargers did that time is they had a double stunt where they ran men up the middle. You'll see him coming back up underneath. There's Billy Ray Smith, 54, and you'll see the pressure. There was no place for him to step up. Consequently, the big sack, and that really takes him out of field goal position. That's not what you want to do in 4th down territory. You do not want to lose that field goal chance. There's no possibility of a field goal from this distance.
Second time this year in that type of a situation, 3rd and long, where Hardison has come up with a sack as the first quarter ends. And importantly for the Chargers, a great defensive stand, and that's what happened in the first quarter.
Well, they really are. We're out of their offensive scheme. They are not a team that plays pressure offense. They have got to have the ability to stand back there, pick up those wide receivers, and have a chance to pick up the secondary receivers, and they have not had that ability in this first quarter.
Telchik out to punt it away for the Eagles, and Anderson standing deep for the Chargers at about his own 10. Now, he fumbled one punt earlier, so that wet ball coming down is tough to handle. He did recover, and here's another high one from Telchik. Fair catch, and Anderson gathers it in at just about the 10-yard line. So Telchik has done his job punting the ball twice inside the 20 today, which gives him 8 for the year.
Well, Gary Anderson is such an all-purpose back. His yardage all-purpose. I think last week he was over 239 or 240 yards all-purpose. He can do so many different things.
And he heads for the bench right now on first down for the Chargers, where they'll spot it just outside of the 10. Those are the numbers from the first quarter, and the Chargers just didn't have much of it.
Well, they didn't. They had better yardage, but
Yeah.
they really had the field position is a stat that is not being shown there. You can see that the yardage really isn't that significant, but position on the field was just terrible for the Chargers, and they are lucky to get out of that first quarter at only 3-0.
And they got 25 of those yards on one play to Kellen Winslow.
Personal foul, number 22 on the run back.
And the Chargers, we didn't see another flag down, but there indeed was one. Gilbert penalized on the run back, or what little run back there was on a fair catch, and that'll put them deeper in a hole. So penalties have just really killed them so far.
What that call is on the play. The defense that's coming down to cover it kind of has a tendency to just ease up when they see that fair catch, and evidently he got hit and caused another penalty against the Chargers.
6 penalties for 50 yards against San Diego as we start the second quarter. McGee for the Chargers, and he's dropped as he gets close to the 5-yard line. Greg Brown, number 98, and Reggie Singletary, number 97, combining to stop McGee.
Now let me tell you what Dan Fouts would do in this situation, and in fact they may call upon Mark Herman. This is a great passing situation for a quarterback because he's sitting back there. The defensive line is down there thinking run. It's a great chance to throw a ball in this situation. And Mark Herman may in fact do that. He has got to pick up more yardage to at least have a decent punting position.
Anderson in there, and they give it to him. Tries to break through, but he's dropped as he got near the line of scrimmage. Greg Brown just rode him, and Anderson gained 3 or 4 as it was anyway, and actually got outside of the 10 before he was dropped down. So wherever they spot it, around the 12, he'll get about a 6-yard pickup.
I like the comment that Lou Holtz made about Gary Anderson. He said to appreciate Gary Anderson, you don't just watch him on film, you have to go every day and watch him in practice. He is such a gifted athlete, has natural ability. He can run, he can catch, he can just do a multitude of things.
Lou Holtz, of course, coaching him at Arkansas, and people in Missouri still wonder how he got away from Missouri. He grew up in Columbia, Missouri, where the University of Missouri located. The pass is caught by Winslow at the 20, and he's immediately wrapped up. Dwayne Giles was over there, but Winslow has been the leading receiver so far for the Chargers, and that is another first down for them, only their 2nd of the game.
Now that's a Dan Fouts philosophy pass. Take that ball, drop back there, and find the wide receiver. And Herman almost looks like Dan Fouts when he backs out of there. He's picking up those receivers as they come off the line. And of course found Winslow, who has great hands. Probably the greatest thing about Kellen Winslow, not his size and speed, but he has great ability to concentrate on that ball and bring it in. Wet balls do not affect great receivers.
Chargers somewhat out of a hole now as Winslow gathers in his 3rd catch of the day. On first down, Herman to the air. Plenty of time. Now it breaks down. There's Winslow again. And Cooper drops him at the 34, but another first down. A 14-yard pickup. Let's go to New York now for an update from Ahmad Rashad.
All right, Kevin, in Pittsburgh, quarterback Mark Malone eludes a tackler and finds Rich Ehrenberg deep in the end zone. Watch this body control. Touchdown Pittsburgh. They leave 10-0 in the second quarter.
All right, Ahmad, thank you very much. Our score, Philadelphia 3-0 over San Diego. The Chargers just picking up back-to-back first downs for the first time in the game. The running play to Anderson over the left side. Hogue coming up from the free safety spot, number 34. And he got some help over there from Evan Cooper, number 21, to make the tackle.
And Kevin, our fans know as you look at Gary Anderson run back, that really the real tribute of a great running back is that leg strength. What happens after he gets hit that first time? Does he just fall down or does he go forward? Gary Anderson that time was hit in the hole. The linebacker came up and hit him, and he still stumbled forward for about 4 yards.
Chargers seem to be running left over Lachey and Clappin. Their left guard and left tackle. Second down, the toss left again to Anderson. And he gets to midfield before he's run out of bounds on the far side. Evan Cooper was over there again, and once more it was Lachey and Clappin. There is Wes Chandler patrolling the San Diego sidelines. Injured his foot last week at Kansas City. Didn't play much last week and probably will not play at all today, although he did make the trip.
With that helmet and that cape, he kind of looks like Darth Vader standing over there patrolling the sidelines.
14-yard pickup for Anderson, and the Chargers started this drive way back at their own 5-yard line. They're now in Philadelphia territory for the first time today at the 48 of the Eagles. Anderson, number 40, goes out wide to the bottom of your screen as Herman, a long count, flips it out complete to Johnson inside the 40. Cooper wrapping him up just shy of the first down. A reminder, this telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Philadelphia Eagles and the National Football League is prohibited. I bet you knew that, Dave.
I knew that, absolutely. This is for my own fun and enjoyment.
Chargers on the move, 2nd and short. Now this is a time when he may want to go with a big play. 2 tight ends in there, Holohan and Winslow. The Chargers move the right side of the line. Perhaps it was Dennis McKnight, the right guard, number 60, that moved.
Now defensive linemen go on movement. That's what they're taught to go. You don't go on sound, you go on movement. You see a flinch by that guard and you go.
False start, number 60, offense.
That's who it was, Dennis McKnight.
Now watch the flinch. He's on the right of your screen. There's the flinch, and you can see the defensive lineman. See them both coming off. They saw the motion. Good play for a defensive lineman there.
Our 10-minute ticker keeping you abreast of what's going on in the NFL. Pittsburgh still leading Cincinnati by 10. The Jets now have taken the lead in their game over New Orleans. Bears out in front early over Detroit, and the Raiders over the Oilers. Miami has now taken the lead over Indianapolis. Look, Green Bay still in the lead, but the 49ers have finally scored. Don Coryell. Tell you what he doesn't know about offense isn't worth knowing. 2nd and 6 for San Diego. Those penalties mounting up on them. McGee tosses it to Anderson. Same play they tried to run earlier. And Alonzo Johnson over there to chase him out of bounds. Number 54, the rookie linebacker for the Eagles out of Florida. Or the 2nd-year player, I should say, out of Florida.
Now this looks a lot like the old college play, the down the belly series, where you run down the line, but you just don't want to waste your quarterback in this situation. But he makes a nice toss, and Gary Anderson picks up almost a first down. He's going to be about a yard short. But it's a good play. If the defensive secondary comes up and they try to tackle a man with the ball, he flips it out. And there's Anderson's statistics. He's averaging 6 yards a carry.
I was right the first time. Alonzo Johnson, of course, is the rookie linebacker for the Eagles. And it's 3rd and short for the Chargers. Their best drive of the day, Dave.
Well, it certainly is. And it kind of compounds the situation that the Eagles were in earlier. They should have capitalized on those mistakes, the fumble, the field goal position that they lost when Cunningham got sacked. Those things mount up. You only get so many scoring opportunities.
Double tight ends in there for the Chargers now. And that's Anderson in motion. Herman on 3rd and short to the air. In trouble. Down the sidelines he goes, and it's dropped by Holohan. Seth Joyner was back there covering, but Holohan appeared to have it in control.
Well, I would disagree with that play. I can't believe that they called that. 3rd down and 1. You go for the first down. They're trying to pick up the big yardage. They haven't had offensive consistency. You can see the indecision on Herman. He doesn't know where to go there. The Eagles are playing excellent coverage. He throws out here, and it's just outside the fingertips of Pete Holohan. But they had a chance to pick up that first down and get 4 more tries. And in about another 8 or 10 yards, they're in field goal position instead of having to punt it.
And, of course, which compounds the fact of throwing on 3rd and short is the fact that you're playing in the rain. And Moishenko will come on to punt it away again. Cooper has dropped deep for the Eagles. Good snap this time. And a high end-over-end kick. They're going to try to let it go in the end zone. Chargers appear to have it covered. Now it gets away, and they can't save it. Wayne Davis was down there, but he couldn't get it. 10-17 remaining in the first half. Eagles still holding on to their 3-0 lead. We'll be back to Philadelphia after the 3-0 Eagles, and they have it first down from their own 20-yard line. This is Crawford, the rookie, trying to outrun Billy Ray Smith. And he did a good job of it as Dale came up, number 37, from the strong safety spot to knock him out of bounds.
And what Crawford did that time was bounce out. That play was designed to go up the middle. He started up the middle and drew the linebackers in. Then all of a sudden he busted it around the outside. A good play by young Mr. Charles Crawford.
Showed some speed, outrun Smith to the corner.
He certainly did.
Picked up 13 to give the Eagles a first down. 30 yards now for Crawford on just 3 carries. Jackson in motion. Quick screen out to him, whistles and flags and all of that kind of stuff. What's the call, Mr. Rowe? Your crystal ball, what does it tell you?
That's going to be an offensive lineman that started about a half a count too early. I believe it was a left tackle. See, I recognize those things.
Ball start, number 66, offense.
Well, I was off one position. It's left guard.
Well, we'll hold you to that.
Well, I saw movement. See, I'm a defensive player. See right there in your picture? That's a half a count early. Just
Ken Reeves, number 66, the guilty guy. You were always playing around the center, though, weren't you?
That's right. I watched that ball. I didn't.
And we pause briefly now for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is KYW-TV, Channel 3 in Philadelphia.
Eagles lead San Diego 3-0. 10:09 left in the first half. Eagles with a 1st and 15, and the tosses to Crawford again. He tried to cut it up inside and was finally brought down. It was Gary Plummer, number 50, out of Cal, the free agent who signed this year with the Chargers, that made the tackle. Our ticker continues to tick. The Jets now adding to their lead over New Orleans. They were 6-0 behind there early. Raiders moving forward over Houston. No surprises there. There's the big surprise. Green Bay over the 49ers. And Tampa Bay over the Chiefs. Jaworski looking at 2nd down now and 14. Out of the shotgun he goes. Down the middle, what a hit, and he was able to hold on. Ron Johnson made the catch, and it was Gil Byrd that laid the lumber to him.
That was an excellent catch, and you can hear the reception of the crowd. They love it when a wide receiver goes into no man's land across the middle. Now watch the hit. He's going to come from the right part of your screen. There's the stretch. There's the hit. Quite a hit there by Gil Byrd, number 22. Boy, I'll tell you, that'll test your courage.
I think it just stuck to Johnson's pads. Long Beach State second-year player. Ron Johnson makes a big catch. Buddy Ryan will love that.
Yes, he will.
He said, I like players that are tough and smart. And, of course, fast. 3rd down for the Eagles. 3rd and 8 out of the shotgun. Jaworski wants to go to Johnson, but that time some tremendous coverage in the secondary from Donald Brown, number 32.
Good little pushing and shoving out there. You'd think that these teams, one of them's 1-5, the other one's 2-5 and 1-6, and you would think that they really wouldn't have their emotions in this game, but both teams really desperately need a victory.
And a flag was down apparently, or no?
Yes, there was a motion, an illegal motion, but I think the Chargers declined it, so to bring up that punt.
Not much of a signal that time.
No, just kind of a little roll the hands around.
Telchik will punt it away. They've been throwing flags all day long, mostly against the Chargers. Anderson will let it hit at the 35. Now he has to pick it up. Now in trouble, and down he goes. You know, you mentioned that, Dave, about the spirit of these two teams, and Don Coryell was saying that he is impressed with the attitude of this team, even after that heartbreaking loss a week ago. We'll be back to Philadelphia, 3-0, the Eagles. Other than an NFC East opponent for the Eagles since 1982, although some of the folks have stayed home in the rain, or out of the rain, and are watching it today. Herman on 1st down for Holohan, too far, and Evan Cooper laid him out anyway.
Well, you talked about the fans here. The fans here have been hungry since the 1960 World Championship in Philadelphia for a victory and a team that they can really support. But they've been very, very loyal over those years, and they've put a lot of big crowds in this stadium. And it's a shame to see a team that just hasn't been able to respond as the Eagles. They've gone through different head coaches, and they just have not been able to put it all together. But they feel with Buddy Ryan, they may have a possibility and have a good chance.
Of course, Dick Vermeil was able to take them to the Super Bowl, in which they lost to those Raiders that you're familiar with. Gary Anderson hemmed in. Reggie White was there. Number 92 for the Eagles.
Reggie White's number 92. You'll see him now. That's a good play by Reggie White. He has to play down the line. He's playing against two people and gets out there in the tackle. That's an excellent play by a defensive lineman. A lot of times the linemen, they feel that they have to have the strength and the straight ahead speed, but linemen have to play that lateral speed down the line, not allowing that running back to cut back. And Reggie White, number 92, did an excellent job on that play.
Herman on 3rd and 10, just his 9th career start as opposed to Jaworski's 135th. Under pressure for Trumaine Johnson, but it's incomplete. Roynell Young was there defending number 43. First time they've tested him today, and that's probably why.
Oh, Roynell Young has had just an excellent season so far. He's playing Trumaine Johnson man-to-man. You'll see him. He's dropping off. Now watch how quickly he covers back here. He's like a shadow on Trumaine Johnson. There's the rip down. He drives him out of bounds. But Roynell Young has really had an outstanding season so far for this Eagles team. They haven't had a lot of things to really be happy about, especially with their record. But he's a young man that's destined to stardom if he has not already attained it.
Well, he had those injuries each of the last 2 years, and Buddy Ryan said he's playing like he did in '81 when he went to the Pro Bowl. Moishenko out there to punt it away again with Cooper deep around his own 35. Still not a Moishenko type kick, a low driving kick at the 30 in the wet part of the field, and Cooper still on his feet somehow, and Buford McGee finally dropped him. I don't know how he was able to hold his feet, Dave, in that wet part of the field, but he did. 37-yard punt with a 5-yard return. 7:20 left in the first half. 3-0 Eagles. Philadelphia, you wonder why the Eagles and Chargers are having trouble. They have the second and third most difficult schedules in the league, and the Bears, the Super Bowl champs, have the easiest.
And that schedule is determined by where you finished the year before. It's a set schedule of teams that you will play depending upon the position that you end up in your division.
Haddock straight ahead, fumbles the ball. Billy Ray Smith, I believe, has it for the Chargers. That's who has it. Leslie O'Neal knocked it loose.
And I would not want to come to the sideline to see Buddy Ryan if I just fumbled it. And he is not coming over here very happily. You can see the ball just kind of squirts out. He loses it out of the backside. Now, a lot of people don't understand how you fumble. I mean, they think that you just drop the ball. But what happens is you're squeezing it so tight, it has a great tendency to drop out the backside of your arm. It comes out almost as if it's like a banana that you squeeze real hard, just kind of squirts out. And the ball, as we talked about earlier, is wet. And it was just compounded the problem that he had.
Great opportunity. McGee dropped in his own backfield by Ken Clark. Clark, the 9-year veteran out of Syracuse.
And for defensive linemen, when you get penetration, that's exactly the thing that will disrupt more offenses than anything. And Clark just really burst through that line and was in the backfield almost as quickly as the handoff. Watch here. You'll see him from the right side of your screen. Boom. Look at there. He's almost, it looks as if he's a pulling guard. And there's the tackle. That's the old nobody blocked me, coach.
Loss of 3. 2nd and 13 for the Chargers. Herman wanted to throw it in a hurry. Now down the middle to Johnson. He's hit immediately near the 40. Flag down in the secondary. Roynell Young was there to make the stop, but we'll see what the flag is all about. Way down near the 30, and Kellen Winslow's applauding. So
it's going to be holding against the Eagles on Winslow, in fact.
Big mistake there. Gives him an automatic first down.
Well, it's not actually on Winslow. He was the one that was being held, I should say. Now this is Trumaine Johnson. Now he's just going to run a crossing pattern. See the man-to-man coverage. Now there's the hold in the bottom of your screen, and there's the reception. But you saw the hold in the bottom of your screen. They're playing, the Eagles play a lot of man-on-man coverage where each man covers an individual rather than a zone where they protect an area. And that time when Kellen Winslow came off the line, he just beat his defender. The defender had no chance. That was Evan Cooper. He just had to kind of grab him just to hold him up. And the referee caught it.
You think Buddy Ryan plays that man-to-man because he wants to know who's responsible for the mistake? Chargers with that power I formation, and they give it to the first man through, Tim Spencer. But Mike Reichenbach is there to drop him. Don't forget that we'll be picking our Budweiser Most Valuable Player at the conclusion of this afternoon's game. And right now it's up for grabs.
You know, our fans out there know that Buddy Ryan is famous for this 46 defense. And anytime you run the 46 defense where you stun a lot of linebackers, you've got to play man-to-man coverage. The numbers are just not there. You don't have enough people dropping back to play a two-deep zone or a wide zone. You have to play man-to-man coverage. And in order to play for Buddy Ryan, you have to be able to play one-on-one football.
2-yard pickup for Spencer. Herman will throw it. His safety valve is trapped. Now down the middle. Intercepted by Alonzo Johnson.
Well, this is a result of a 46 defense. We just talked about Buddy Ryan. He's very high on Alonzo Johnson, number 54. Now watch this secondary. Everybody's picking up man-to-man. You can see them right there. They're covering. And really, Mark Herman had nowhere to go. Now they're in the reaction back to the ball. There's Johnson, 54, right in the middle of your screen, thrown right into his hands. He was just reacting to the quarterback stepping up in the pocket, and it turned over the ball for the Eagles, and this is a big turnover for the Eagles. They have got to capitalize, though. They cannot expect to go in 3-0 against this Chargers team and be in a healthy, commanding lead.
Herman wanted to throw it to McGee as safety valve, but Dwayne Giles had him covered step for step. Second interception of the year for Johnson. Jaworski to Spagnuolo, wide open inside the 40, still on his feet. And Brown brings him down, a loose football, and the Eagles have it inside the 20. Spagnuolo recovered his own fumble.
And watch this. Jaworski goes to his favorite receiver, John Spagnuolo, catches him right down the middle on a seam. He's one-on-one. We talked about his size. Look at that rambling, 6'5". He just puts those feet up and down. Now there's the ball comes out. It just takes a great bounce, bounces right back into his hands. That's why sometimes you'd rather be lucky than be good.
Always when a football's bouncing around, you'd rather be lucky. Donald Brown made a nice hit on the big man, Spagnuolo, but first down Eagles at the Charger 20 after a pickup of 38 yards. They'll run it. Myers over the left side. Still on his feet inside the 15. Thomas Benson, number 57. And Jeff Dale, number 37, combined for the stop, but a 7-yard pickup for Myers. As we check the 10-minute ticker, Pittsburgh pulling out in front of Cincinnati. That game at Pittsburgh. No surprises there, except maybe that Detroit is so close to the Bears. Green Bay continues to lead, as does Tampa Bay. Jeff Dale, who helped on that last tackle, limps off the field for San Diego, number 37, and now doesn't quite make it to the sidelines, and the officials will call a timeout so that he can get over. John Sullivan, number 33, comes in to replace him.
And the referee have the discretion to call that timeout if a player is hurt. Now this doesn't take a timeout against it. It's a referee's timeout, but he just couldn't make it all the way over to the sideline. But the Eagles have come out and started to capitalize a little better on their offensive philosophy. They are coming out and hitting Spagnuolo on a seam, and now they've handed the ball off to Keith Byers, and Keith Byers really needs to run well soon. He's had that foot injury. He had 2 bone grafts evidently when he was in college, and he needs to have that confidence that he can run the ball in the NFL. He was their #1 draft choice, and he has got to come out here and dominate this game as a running back.
Dave, when you have that injury, that type of an injury that keeps you silent for so long after so much success, do you start to doubt yourself, do you think?
Absolutely. You doubt whether you can make that one little cut where it takes all the strain and all the stress that joint will hold up.
Myers is in the backfield, and he gets the call, and Billy Ray Smith has him, along with Leslie O'Neal, number 91. But Billy Ray Smith, number 54, playing himself a very good game. Has a fumble recovery.
And look at Byers. He knows he should have run that ball. He kind of stutter-stepped in there a little bit. He's the type of running back at 6'1", 235 pounds. He's got to put his head down and just blast in there. And when he got up out of the huddle that time off the pile, he just kind of shook that fist and went, I know I should have put my head down and just plowed in there, just blasted. The old Larry Zonka type.
Dave, it's a big 3rd and 2 with 3 minutes left in the half for the Eagles. And in fact, they're going to talk it over and take a timeout because they have been down here all afternoon. And you get that feeling that the way San Diego, as Don Coryell looks on, has been able to play defense, and we'll pick that thought up in a moment, but it's an important play for the Eagles. We'll be back. 3-0. Eagles lead it. Pick up on that thought. The Eagles have been knocking on the door all afternoon, and the Charger defense so far has pushed them back and risen up and really played inspired defense, and this 3rd and 2 is important for the Eagles.
It certainly is. If they can hold them to a field goal here, they'll only be down 6 points. And of course, a touchdown can put you right in the lead, but they have got to come up with a big play. But I've been surprised at the consistency that San Diego has shown on defense. They have really reacted well in this first half.
Haddix and Byers are the running backs for the Eagles. Double tight ends with Little in there. Number 89, you saw him shift. The toss is to Byers. He made a great cut in the backfield, and now they're going to stop him short. It was Benson that came up and hit him first, number 57, and then everybody joined in, led by Gil Bird, number 22.
Well, you don't see many 230-pound fullbacks that are stopped by a single person, but Byers was stood up. You talked about the cut he made, the defensive back coming up and forcing the play, making right there's the block. Now there's where he comes back underneath. Now look right there, he's hit by one person. That's who is that, Thomas Benson? And then all of a sudden he just gets help going down the line and just doesn't come up with it. But really, they really have come out. That is really surprising of San Diego. They've been so maligned in the past. Their defense hasn't been able to stop them. The only way they win is if they outscore them. And they have played a magnificent first half of football.
Charger people were telling us that Benson has been a very pleasant surprise, and now the whistles blow this play dead before it could even get underway. We'll wait and see.
I think the 30-second clock ran out.
Delay of game, offense.
That's it. Delay of game will cost them 5, although from this distance shouldn't make too much difference for McFadden, except that he'll be kicking in the water now.
Yes, he's trying to clear water out with his foot. He's been scratching the water out there. He knows he has to plant with that left foot and, of course, kick with his right foot. And look there, he's trying to get the water. He knows he's going to be right in a puddle. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see him take another penalty.
Or 3.
Offense.
Because they're right in the middle of that puddle now.
Yeah, where he plants his left foot, it's going to be in the water. In fact, if Jaworski doesn't move out a little bit farther outside the hash mark. You can see the puddle to the left of Jaworski. The ball is set about 7 yards from the line of scrimmage, which is where Jaworski sets up. And there's the puddle right to your left. You can see it in the screen.
They're going to spot it right around the 25, make it a 35-yard kick. So that penalty could really hurt them now. It would have been kicked from the 20-yard line, and he wouldn't have been in that wet part. But it didn't bother McFadden. He drives it through there to give the Eagles a 2-field-goal lead at 6-0 with 2 minutes exactly remaining in the first half. We'll come back to Philadelphia with more. Eagles on top, 6-0. Benches, the Eagles with 2 McFadden field goals lead 6-0, and here's a check of the 10-minute ticker to see what everyone else is doing. Look at the Vikings. They're really playing well. The Bears in New England have added field goals. The Raiders still by a touchdown. Green Bay hanging in there. And Kansas City has closed to a field goal difference with Tampa Bay at the half.
And there's the huddle on the sideline. What the coach is telling them, listen, we have played a great half of football. We have to get our offense on track, but don't make a mistake and fumble this ball. Catch it clean, make sure you put it away, and just don't give it back to them, because the Chargers have just played a great half of football. The Eagles have not capitalized when they should capitalize, and they have not scored the points. They should be ahead in this game, probably in the neighborhood of at least 13, maybe 20-0.
Wyatt and Spencer deep for the Chargers. Interestingly for San Diego, Kellen Winslow plays on the kick return team with that knee, and there he is. He's going to get the handle at about the 27-yard line. And down he goes to the 35, but that's a little surprising as Seth Joyner drops him. That Winslow fighting back from that knee injury is out there.
Well, one of the things you want on those upbacks is you need somebody with good hands, and Kellen Winslow has those good hands. Now that was interesting kickoff, because when the Eagles kicked it off, they did not kick it deep. Now there's the, is that unofficial? I think that's the official NBC rain gauge. You can see there that there's at least an inch of water in there.
Anybody dump any water in there? Is that all from the rain? First down, Chargers from their own 35. And they give it to Anderson. He cuts back up but doesn't get much, perhaps 2 or 3 yards before Reggie White and Mike Reichenbach bring him down, and they got a lot of help from Greg Brown, number 98.
Now there's 2 philosophies right now, and there's 2 great minds down there working. Of course, the Eagles want to stop them and get a chance to get the ball back and perhaps get another score. If you're with the Chargers, you have to be excited that you're only down 6-0. It's anybody's ball game right now, but Mark Herman has the ability to pick up that wide receiver and pick up a big one.
Chargers taking their time. Herman's in trouble, shovels it out, incomplete, intended for Anderson. It was Ken Clark, number 71, the left tackle, that was really applying the pressure.
That's quite a record. 65 passes they attempted.
And they didn't get sacked once.
Not once.
Incredible pass protection from the Chargers, but they've always been good at that. That's what Herman has done today after a very good second half in relief of Dan Fouts a week ago.
Now if the Eagles can stop the Chargers on this series, they'll bring up 3rd down. They've got a chance to get the ball back, and they've got a good field goal kicker who's got a good leg, so they may in fact try to call a timeout if in fact they hold them on this 3rd down in about 8.
1 of 6 on third down conversions for the Chargers. He guns it for Joyner, and he's got it, a first down in Eagle territory. Albert Fowles, number 29, was back there covering, but they'll have it at the Philadelphia 46.
That's the first time Charlie's heard it, and Charlie automatically knew. Call timeout. Look at there, 736 career receptions.
How many did you have?
I had 2, believe it or not. I did. I have a 9-yard average per catch. I intercepted 2 balls. One I got killed with, the other one I ran 18 yards.
All right, 1:10 remaining. We'll return to Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Eagles up by 6. Down at the Eagle 46.
And what a boost for the Chargers if they, in fact, can get in just field goal scoring range. They would go into halftime just exuberant over this first half.
Eagles have had the ball in San Diego territory nearly all afternoon. And they'll run it with Anderson. Reggie White was there, number 92, to grab hold of him. And they got a lot of help from Greg Brown, number 98. Now the Chargers in the hurry up. Don't forget NFL 86 coming up at halftime. As the Chargers hurry it up. He hangs it up in the air for Joyner. Fowles was back there. It looked like Joyner expected it to be to the inside, and Herman threw it outside.
Now, if I was going to throw a go pattern, I don't believe I'd go to Charlie Joyner. In his 18th year, Charlie's lost a step or 2. He's still an excellent wide receiver, but I'd go to Trumaine Johnson in that situation, especially if I was in 1-on-1.
As we mentioned, coming up at halftime, all the scores and highlights from NFL 86. Buddy Ryan told us yesterday the man he feared was Trumaine Johnson.
Yes, he did. He said that he had a lot of fear about him because he said that young man has got great speed and good concentration to catch the ball.
He's in there. He caught 171 passes in 2 USFL seasons. Herman. Down the middle of Joyner. Oh, you won't see that very often as he drops the ball with 4 white shirts around him, hearing footsteps, but in this stage of his career, you don't expect him to hear those.
And I saw Trumaine Johnson out of the corner of my eye, and I really thought he broke free. This is the pass to Joyner. It's over the middle now. You're talking about footsteps. He had to leap up in the air. He just didn't look it in. Now look at Johnson in the back of your picture. Let's take a look at him in this situation. He's in man-to-man coverage. He's going to be covered back here by Evan Cooper. Now look there. He breaks right wide open. Oh boy, was he wide. Look at no one within 5-6 yards of him.
He's jumping. He's so anxious to get the ball.
He really was wide open.
Moishenko will come on, so a rare drop from Joyner cost the Chargers a chance at a score. Moishenko handling a bad snap, nearly waited too long, and now he punts it away. Cooper inside the 10. A couple of nice moves before he's wrestled down as he gets close to the 15. Ty Allert, number 56, out of Texas, was down there to make the stop. A 33-yard Moishenko punt. And a 5-yard return by Cooper. And the Eagles, with 35 seconds left in the half, do you think they'll just try to sit on it here, Dave?
Well, they may try to sit on it, but if the Chargers can use their timeouts, maybe get an incomplete pass, use those timeouts, they still have the ability, with the punting game being what it is today, they still have the chance to get maybe a free kick inside the 50-yard line if, in fact, they can stop them on this series.
And there is the timeout story. Each team with 2. Buddy Ryan with a towel around his neck.
I would just look for the Eagles just to run the ball, just to run out the clock.
And they'll go with Haddix straight up the middle. Flag is down as Billy Ray Smith brings Haddix down. That may establish some confidence in Haddix's part after he fumbled the last time.
Holding.
It's going to
number
be back.
66. Offense.
Ken Reeves, the guilty party, the second-year player out of Texas A&M. Don Coryell. 13 years an NFL head coach in his 9th year at San Diego. He's only had 5 division champions.
Had some in your old hometown.
Back in St. Louis, I'll tell you. He turned that franchise around for the years that he was there. 5 years.
Now, in order for the Chargers to stop them, they need 2 quick timeouts, plus they need an incomplete pass. And they may, in fact, get it because Jaworski in this situation is not going to take a chance.
1st and 20. They'll run it with Haddix again. He's covering the football. You like to see a back do that. Leslie O'Neal, number 91, was there to hit him, especially a back who fumbled earlier.
Well, the Chargers are not using their timeouts now. That's surprising to me.
Very surprising. And Buddy Ryan is thankful.
Yes, he is. Well, he's quite a character. I'll tell you, I enjoyed sitting there talking with him yesterday. Talked
really
my kind of football. Of course, he had a few expletives in that conversation, but
few bleeps.
We asked him if he had the kind of players that he wants after he let go of a few players that were surprising. He said, I don't have all of them. If all of them were here, Marion Campbell would still be here. So the end of our first half, of course, with Philadelphia leading.
It was just almost two evenly matched teams in the first half.
And the field, as we mentioned earlier in the first half, was very wet, had puddles in certain spots. But here's the work of the Zamboni. That face looks a little bit like some Raider teammates of yours, Dave.
Doesn't have a face mask on. But you know, the thing that's interesting about an artificial surface, and our field is right now, it is dry. This was done at halftime when they were out there. That actually draws the water up, and then they, of course, dump it over into a vent here. But the field is almost dry. That's one of the advantages, and it's about the only advantage I can think of artificial surface. But it does allow you to get the water off the field quickly.
Moishenko will kick off for San Diego. Byers and Crawford, the two rookie backs, and drop deep for the Eagles. Now Moishenko really nails it. Byers in his own end zone, now fumbles it out of the end zone. Crawford picks it up. And look at him break free. Flag is down, and so is Crawford as he crosses the 30. The flag down near the 18-yard line. John Sullivan brought Crawford down.
And that's going to be an illegal block against the Eagles. But what happens on a kick? A lot of times when that back fumbles that ball, it changes the coming down tempo of the covering team. As they're running down, they have a tendency to let up or speed up, and you get a different coverage. And that's, in fact, what happened on this. You'll see Byers bubbles the game, ball out there, it touches the line. Now he has to run it. Haddix picks it up. Now the coverage team really comes down the field. There was a clip on the right-hand side of the ball.
On the return.
You can see it's going to negate a nice run back by Haddix. There's the flag in the top of your screen. Brings it all the way back to the 5-yard line.
31-yard return set back, and you saw Byers. I thought to myself when he fumbled that ball, he better block somebody or Buddy Ryan will be all over him. So he blocked his own guy and threw a great block on him. First down, the Eagles from their own 5. Well, if you're the Chargers, that's what you like to see. The Eagles, on the other hand, had good field position the entire first half. Haddix gets the call. He makes a nice cut at the line of scrimmage. And Donald Brown and John Sullivan were over there to bring him down.
You talked about a nice cut. That's what great running backs have to do. They have to have vision into the hole. When they come up into that hole and it's clogged up, they've got to be able to do that lateral step where they kind of sidestep and find the seam. And that's what Haddix did that time. Picked up a nice gain.
7-yard pickup as we check the ticker. Still no surprises among those scores. And on second down, it's Haddix again, and he's drilled short of the first down. Gary Plummer was up there, number 50, along with Leslie O'Neal, number 91. Here's the surprising score at halftime. Green Bay over San Francisco. It was 14-0. And Tampa Bay a surprise, being tied with the Chiefs in the third quarter.
Well, you hate to talk about one play being a big play, but this is really a big play for the Chargers. And in comes Matt Cavanaugh. Now that's an interesting change. They said he was evaluating his career, and he came in with a third down and about 1 yard. He's not warmed up. He hasn't even taken a snap from center, and here he is.
This is more than interesting. And the Boo Birds make their presence felt, and Cavanaugh keeps it himself on the sneak. The ball pops loose, but it was blown dead, and he did appear to pick up the first down. And now Jaworski comes back in. Well, that's very interesting, Dave. Maybe you'll explain it.
Well, I think what they're doing, they're running over and saying, buddy, what do you want me to run this time? And then they're alternating quarterbacks now. The fans here did not like that change. And I would disagree with that, because even though Cavanaugh might have more strength, leg strength or something like that, but he hasn't taken a snap from center. He's ice cold running out there.
And with a wet football to top it off. But they did get the first down, and the result's all that matters, I guess, if you ask Buddy Ryan about it. They'll run it again with Haddix over the right side, and in that pile of humanity, he gains a couple. Leslie O'Neal was there for the Chargers defensively.
Well, like I said, maybe they just changed quarterbacks to run in there. Buddy said, listen, I want a quarterback sneak. You go in and run it. But that really did surprise me.
Haddix, the only veteran, in other words, the only running back on the Philadelphia roster that is not a rookie, getting the bulk of the workload today. Second down and about 8 for the Eagles, and Jaworski to the air. The screen set up to Spagnuolo. And he's dropped short of the 25. It was Woody Lowe and Thomas Benson, number 51 Lowe, the first to hit him. 6-yard pickup.
I think I just figured it out. I think it's a designated quarterback. What you do is you have a 3rd and long quarterback, and they bring Cunningham in as we watch the screen pass out here to Spagnola. But they bring Cunningham on 3rd and long for his scrambling ability. They have Jaworski in there during the regular quarterback for his ability to lead the team. And then they have Kavanaugh as the 3rd and short quarterback because he's a good quarterback sneaker.
I'll tell you, you can't break it down more explicitly than Dave Rowe just did. But now it's 3rd and short. Where's Kavanaugh?
Not short enough.
And they'll run Haddix over the right side, and I don't know if he made it.
I don't believe he did. He really got stuffed in the hole. The linebackers for the Chargers shot inside, and they really filled that hole. Benson and Plummer really came up quickly to make that stop, and I think he's going to be short.
Plummer, number 50, was the first to get him. And that's going to force a punting situation. And Telchik will have to come out. The Eagles don't get quite as much yardage as they would have wanted, but they did indeed get out of that hole at the 5-yard line.
You can see Buddy Ryan's not happy. He's calling upstairs to find out who's missing the block.
And whoever it is may get a seat next to Buddy.
I wouldn't want to sit next to him. I'll tell you that right now. I noticed that yesterday. He reminded me of some of the coaches I had, though.
It makes you want to block. Telchik gets a good snap with Anderson deep, and he really touches one off this time. Oh, Anderson retreats inside his 20. And he gets across the 30. The crowd got alive because they thought they saw a clip, and now a flag does come down.
Well, I thought I saw a clip, too. I couldn't believe they did not call it. We'll have to wait and see what they do, in fact, call, because that was a late flag. That looked as if it was almost going to be a face mask or something like that, but I did see a clip on that play also.
Illegal block. Above the waist, number 56 on the return.
Well, they call it the illegal block, but it certainly was obvious.
Now, watching the left of your screen, you'll see an illegal block. What they do is he pushes him in the back. There it is. That's the push in the back, and that's against Gil Bird. What he does is, it's not the clip. You know, we always hear about the clip where that's where you dive at the below the legs from the back. But the inadvertent illegal use of hands is just where you just kind of give him a little nudge in the back with your hand.
56-yard punt, and then helped by a penalty. 6-0 Eagles lead at 3rd quarter. We're coming back. The Eagles shutting out the Chargers, and San Diego's much maligned defense holding Philadelphia to 2 field goals. First down Chargers, and they run it with Spencer, but Alonzo Johnson has a hold of him. And the rookie Johnson is a very impressive linebacker, Dave.
Yes, he is. Look at him rip that ball out there, trying to cause that fumble. The first guy in makes the hit. The second one in tries to tear that ball out. Now, that's the signal that they're calling. That's a play signaled in to the quarterback. He's telling him what formation and what play. Of course, Don Coryell standing next to him.
Looks like he wanted him to shoot somebody.
I think he said go that away instead of this way.
Second down for the Chargers, 2nd and 9. Herman to the air. Out here for Tremaine Johnson. Roynell Young providing some very tight coverage. And it'll be 3rd down for San Diego. 10:34 remaining in the 3rd quarter. If you start to wonder, when was the last time San Diego was shut out? It was way back on October 29th, 1984, when Seattle did it, 24-0.
Well, it just really surprises me that San Diego is not challenging down speed with a Tremaine Johnson. Those type of receivers have got to go downfield and get that one-on-one coverage and throw the ball up and see if they can come down with it.
And it seems, Dave, that when they've tried it, they've been successful. Herman now under pressure. Flag goes down, intended for Tim Spencer with Waters on the coverage, but I believe you'll see a hold in there.
Well, you're going to see a hold, all right, because anytime it takes that much time, those defensive linemen are just barreling down there, those offensive linemen, and in the last second when they're getting beat, they just grab on and hold to protect that quarterback.
Holding, number 74, offense, decline, 4th down.
Jim Lachey, the very impressive left tackle of the Chargers, the guilty party.
Now look at the time that Herman has here. He's just not picking up his primary receiver. You can see Winslow's got somebody on his back. There's the hold to the left of your screen. but he just is not picking up his primary receiver. On every pattern, there's a primary receiver, the one that the pass is meant to go to, and then you have to have the ability to come off that receiver and pick up what they call the secondary receiver. And Mark Herman has just not done a good job of that today.
And Moishenko has not punted very well. This time he gets it high. Cooper comes over to his 35 and fumbles it, and the best thing he could hope for is that it goes out of bounds, which it does, but he costs them 10 yards in field position. 10:19 remaining in the third quarter. Eagles still lead it 6-0. We'll be back to Philly. Philadelphia, Kevin Slayton along with Dave Rowe. That's the story. Philadelphia first down at their own 25. Jaworski gives it to Haddix, and he runs headlong into Thomas Benson, number 57. And you know, the San Diego people, they were telling us that Benson's been a pleasant surprise, and he's played very well today.
Yes, he has. And that play, you're just going to take that lineman just straight on, and when that running back comes in there, you've just got to meet him straight on. That's a real test of courage, and that young man really answered it, because he really came up and stuck him.
They got him from Atlanta as we check the ticker.
Happiness in Raiderville.
And you say that with a gruesome smile. 2nd and 8 now for the Eagles. Jaworski to the air. Flips it for Haddix, who drops it. Don't think he would have gotten too far, because there were 4 maroon jerseys as we continue with our scoreboard here. 14-7. Green Bay and San Francisco still knocking heads there. And Kansas City has now gone out in front of Tampa Bay. Well, they said in Kansas City the word on John Malkovich was win or else, and he's starting to do it. Randall Cunningham comes in to replace Jaworski now on the 3rd and long, and Vincey Glenn, number 25, comes into the San Diego secondary. 5 defensive backs for the Chargers.
Now again, what you want to do in Cunningham is not allow him to run. Don't let him scramble for that first down.
Here comes the blitz. He hangs it up there for Quick, who makes a great adjustment and makes the catch for the first down at the 45-yard line.
And that was a great adjustment. You called it, by Mike Quick. And Cunningham was getting pressure right down his throat. Now watch the lineman come right up the gut. You'll see 92 coming up right up the gut there, and he just really sticks him. And the ball is thrown up, and to Quick, what happens with the defensive back, and I believe it was Gil Byrd, he just loses contact with Mike Quick. Quick just turns back. See how Byrd loses the contact? He just didn't look back at the ball. Quick comes down with a big first down play.
Jaworski back in there. It was D. Hardison that put the heavy rush, but it didn't seem to matter. First down for the Eagles. Jaworski to throw again. And he completes it to Spagnuolo. And Spagnuolo has another first down in San Diego territory at the 44 before Brown brought him down. And Randall Cunningham limping a little bit over there.
Oh, he took quite a shot in the chest. But that time, I love Spagnuolo, and they love him here too. He's been a big plus for this Philadelphia team for several years. And at the last end, he was just getting out there, and just at the last end, he just kind of dove out there to get that first down.
And when you're 6'4" and 242, when you dive, it takes up a lot of territory.
Yeah, he's got 4 receptions and almost 60 yards, 59 yards to be exact.
Eagles on the move in Charger territory now. Jaworski with a blitz coming, has to get rid of it. Nearly intercepted over there. It was Ken Taylor covering on Kenny Jackson. Billy Ray Smith came strong on the blitz.
And Jaworski better be happy that he underthrew that ball, because Ken Taylor broke on the ball and really almost came up with an interception. It was a blitz from the outside. Jaworski saw the blitz, had to get rid of it quickly out to the flat, and Ken Taylor played that ball just marvelously. He just really reacted to the ball quickly.
And if he picks it off, it's 7 the other way.
Well, there's no one catches you out there. Even I can run from out there.
Officials stopping the play. The Chargers have had 2 sacks today against the most porous pass protecting team in the league. The Eagles have given up 37. Now, before you blame the offensive line, Buddy Ryan told us it's not always their fault. He's assigned blame. He's blamed the quarterbacks. He's blamed the running backs. I think he even blamed the cheerleaders for a couple.
Well, what his scheme is, and it's a good scheme because it makes it really legitimizes the sacks. What he does is he says that a quarterback causes sacks when he holds on to the ball and takes too much time. Each play is designed to get off in a certain amount of time. A running back causes a sack when he doesn't come up and get the block, and of course the secondary causes a sack when they cover real well and give the time to the defensive lineman. So there's several different ways that you can have a sack.
2nd and 10. You saw what happened last week. 10 of them. Here comes the blitz down the middle of Spagnola again. Bird hanging on. Drops him short of the first down at the 35. And Jaworski really reading that blitz well. A 9-yard pickup that time.
Now there's the Buddy Ryan sack analysis. He called Cunningham, held the ball too long, as did Cavanaugh, and they cost 5.5 sacks. Baker cost the sacks. Haddox and Spagnola calls the sack because they didn't pick up a block. And you can take it from there.
Now that was last week against Dallas. I just told you they had 10, but Buddy's analysis adds up to 9.5. He lost a half a sack. Maybe that was the cheerleader's fault, like I was saying. 3rd and short. They're 2 of 8 in 3rd down conversions, and they run it with Haddox over the right side, and it looks like he has it. Lee Williams, number 99, the first to get him.
Now on that play, it's really interesting. They run that little short motion where they put the man in slot, and he takes a few stutter steps, and as soon as the ball snapped, it's a timing pattern. There's the girl that caused the
half
last
a sack. It's her fault.
But anyway, they cause that little tiny motion, and all of a sudden he turns up, and he's just like a running back piling up in there. Puts a lot of pressure on your defensive line. We may have, in fact, have a measurement on this.
So they are going to check it. With 8:27 remaining in the 3rd quarter, and the Eagles on top, 2 field goals to none.
Well, I go back to a play that the Chargers did earlier. Remember, it was 3rd down and 1. The Chargers had one of their best drives. As we see, it came up short, and the crowd is yelling, "Go for it." But what they did, in fact, the Chargers decided they were going to pass the ball. Now they go to the, this is the 3rd and short quarterback.
Matt Cavanaugh.
Cavanaugh, right.
Well, he made it the last time when he snuck. Now, is that a tip-off that he's going to sneak it again?
Now, if I was a defensive lineman and I was over that center, I'd think quarterback sneak in this situation.
Well, what if he fakes into the line, drops back, and throws the long one?
Well, we're going to find out in just a second here.
Tough to stop the sneak. He nearly fumbled the ball. Chuck Ahin was the first one to grab him, number 78, and Cavanaugh does his job again. He's 2 for 2 on 3rd down. Oh, that was a 4th down.
Well, see, you've got to think. Now, you can see how loose he has the ball there. But if you're a defensive lineman and he comes back in one more time, you've got to think quarterback sneak.
Matt Cavanaugh, since coming over here from the 49ers, has been a maligned young man by the press and the fans here. They thought that Buddy Ryan gave up too much, but they're cheering him so far today. Byers and Haddox, the setbacks, and this is Keith Byers. Great defensive work that time by Brown. Or Sullivan, excuse me, number 33. Well, you don't stop Byers one-on-one too often, and he did a great job. Byers tried to put the hand in his face. Didn't work.
And Sullivan just reached up there and said, "Hey, you're going to give me that hand, I'm going to use it." When you want to make a tackle and you're a young defensive back out there playing high school football, or watch this. When he puts his arm out here, watch how Sullivan reaches up and grabs the arm. Just reaches across it and grabs it. Says, "Okay, yeah, I'll use that to pull you down." See, he's got his shoulder. So young defensive backs out there, grab that arm when they try to straight arm you.
He lost a yard, 2nd and 11. You said Byers must run effectively. 7 carries for 4 yards today. Jaworski simply overthrows Jackson.
He overthrew because Lee Williams he had to throw over Lee Williams. Lee Williams stands about 6'5½", and he just really poured in there. Now watch Jackson. Watch this right here. As he turns around, this is Kenny Jackson. Look how high that ball. Now watch this at the end. He's just going, oh boy.
He didn't see Lee Williams.
No, he didn't see that Jaworski had to throw over top of 6'5½" Lee Williams right in his face.
Randall Cunningham is in at quarterback, replacing Jaworski on 3rd and 11.
Well, that's right. This is the 3rd and long quarterback.
Cunningham used to take it from the shotgun, but he's decided that he feels more comfortable under center. Good protection this time. Down the middle, sliding catch complete to Greg Garrity. He's an old Penn Stater. You like that.
Oh, yeah. Now listen to the secondary here. The crowd is arising. Now watch. They're playing zone coverage. Here comes Garrity out of the backfield. He's going to be on the bottom of your screen. There on the left of your screen. He just slides in there. Actually, the secondary is playing a little bit soft that time. That was one of the comments that Jaworski made to me yesterday. He said, if anything, San Diego's secondary, they almost play just a little bit soft. They're just give a little bit too much. That's what I want to take advantage of.
Buddy Ryan playing those musical quarterbacks to a tune the Philly fans like to hear. Jaworski nearly intercepted on the far side by Ken Taylor, intended for Jackson, and now they boo Jaworski.
Boy, they should boo him on that play, because Ron Jaworski did not make a good choice. He threw behind his receiver. On a play like that, you have got to lead your receiver into that position. Jaworski knows it, and he's just happy he has another chance. Listen to him in the end zone. They're just kind of heckling him down there, saying, hey.
Touchdowns have been few and far between, as you saw by that graphic, for this Eagle offense. 2nd and 10 now from the Chargers 16. They run the ball with Haddix over the left side this time, and he just bowls his way over Leslie O'Neal, number 91, and he's close to the 10-yard line. But it'll be 3rd down for the Eagles, and another crucial 3rd down for them. Time to check the 10-minute ticker now as we keep you updated on all of the scores around the NFL. Minnesota after their big win over the Bears. The Steelers upsetting Cincinnati. That AFC Central will be wacky after that one's over, if it stays that way. Detroit battling the Bears. And San Francisco has tied Green Bay in the 3rd quarter. Well, it's going to be 3rd and a long 5, maybe 6 for the Eagles.
Big down here. If you're a Philadelphia fan, this is a big down. They have not controlled the ball like they should have this first half. In the first half. Now they're in the second half. They have got to get a touchdown or at least a field goal in this position.
Junior Tatalatasi is in there, and Jaworski has to call a timeout, and they'll boo him again.
Well, he had to waste a timeout because no one on his offense knew where to line up. He was trying to direct them where to line up. Cost them a costly timeout.
5.5 minutes left. 6-0 here in the 3rd quarter. On a 3rd and a long 5 at the San Diego 11-yard line here in the 3rd quarter.
And I guess in this situation, you kind of leave your intermediate quarterback in. He's kind of the 3rd down, about 6 or 7, but it's got to be a problem for Don Coryell because he has the defense against all 3 of these quarterbacks in different situations.
3 wide receivers in there, and Spagnuolo is split wide in the slot to the top of your screen, number 88, so that's 3 to the top of the screen, and the sack from Billy Ray Smith. Well, we wondered a few minutes ago when the sacks would come, and the blitz came from behind, and Smith was able to get to him.
And that time Jaworski was strictly looking to his right. He never saw Billy Ray Smith, number 54, from the back. Now watch Jaworski's head. He's looking to his right. Billy Ray's going to come into your picture there from the backside, and down goes Ron Jaworski, and they've got to settle for another field goal try. Now, this is the coverage here. You can see they didn't need much coverage, but look at Mike Quick. Look how Mike Quick broke open, number 82.
Of course, Jaworski was on his backside by that time.
Absolutely.
McFadden comes on. They'll tee it up at the 27, make it a 37-yard attempt. And he is 3 for 3. After missing a big one against Dallas last week, McFadden has made it 9-0. The Eagles with 4:58 remaining in the 3rd quarter. We'll be back to Veterans Stadium in a moment. The story here in Philadelphia is simply that the Chargers have been shut out so far. Mark Herman at quarterback without Dan Fouts. Would they go to Tom Flick soon?
Well, he does not have any statistics for the year. He's 0 for 1. So I can't see them going to him. But they are going to have to live and die today with Mark Herman. It looks as if Don Coryell is not going to make that change.
Dan Fouts, of course, suffering from his 2nd concussion of the year within about a 3-week span, and they just didn't want to take any chances whatsoever in allowing him to play today. Wyatt and Spencer have dropped deep for McFadden's kick. He's 3 for 3 today after missing that big field goal last week. This is Wyatt at the 2. Wyatt trying to bounce outside. A flag is down, and so is Wyatt as he gets to the 25-yard line where Bernard Wilson brought him down. Number 22 for the Eagles.
And Kevin, I know we see another flag, and it seems as if almost every kicking play on the receiving team gets that either the inadvertent hand into the back, which that signal indicates, or else they get a clip. Almost every play you see that. Now you're not allowed to block below the knees. You're not allowed to block from the back. You can't touch in the back. Every time we have a kick return, we have a penalty.
The back, on the return, up it.
Do you like that rule where you can't push from the back?
Well, it's an interesting rule because a lot of times in the old days, several years ago, what they used to do is they just come down, just kind of nudge you, just give you a little tiny touch in the back, and it wouldn't be a clip, but it would kind of throw you off balance, and that's what that hand in the back call is now all about, trying to take away that disadvantage.
Chargers with that option play. McGee wanting to pitch it, and he's not able to. Anderson was trailing, but McGee really never had a chance to get rid of it. And I'll tell you what, you start pitching it around down there near your own goal line, and that's when you start asking for trouble. An injured Eagle is down on the field, Greg Brown, number 98. And Wes Chandler has come into the lineup for the Chargers. We didn't think we'd see him, but he's just entered the lineup for them.
Well, the Chargers right now need some type of a spark on offense. They need someone to catch a big play. They need to throw a bomb to loosen everybody up and see, in fact, if Trumaine Johnson can catch it. But we need some kind of a thing to happen for San Diego to kind of spark them up. That's what they need.
Cleveland in trouble in the fourth quarter. Cincinnati in trouble in the third quarter and in real trouble. The Jets have rebounded, early trailing New Orleans in that game. New England having their way over Buffalo. San Francisco, as we mentioned, has tied Green Bay. Our story is 4:27 remaining in the third quarter, and Paul McFadden with 3 field goals today to lead the Eagles to a 9-0 lead. Some of the fans who've come out here in the rain, although the rain has stopped.
Well, you know, we talked about earlier about how the Eagles have been unable to capitalize on their opportunities, and they really have not. The Chargers are in no way out of this game. They have got a lot of time left in this game. They need 1 touchdown and a field goal, and they win.
And if it comes down to a Benershka field goal for San Diego, he has to be thinking what happened last week when he missed one in the closing seconds against Kansas City to cost them that game.
Yes, Rolf said that he in fact kicked that over 1,000 times during the week, and every time he made it. But that one time when he kicked, he did not.
Only the second time in his career he's missed a game-winning field goal. Here's Winslow over the middle, but he is met and dropped immediately. Right as he caught it, Terry Hogue came flying up from his free safety spot. He read that well.
He certainly did. Now, what happened that time, Winslow went in motion. Now, watch, he's just going to dip across the line and then quickly look back at Herman. And as you said, Terry Hogue really came up. Buddy Ryan really likes Terry Hogue. He said he is quite a force. He's tough. He's a very brilliant student down in Georgia. He really has come to play football for this Eagle team. He's a Buddy Ryan type player.
He paid him the ultimate praise and said he was like Gary Fensick, only faster. There's Winslow again. That one was nearly intercepted. Renard Wilson was there along with Hogue defending, and the Chargers will have to punt it away again.
Well, that just compounds the problems of Mark Herman, because he just has not been able to pick up that secondary receiver. We've talked about it many times. His primary receiver was out to his right, out in the flat. He had run 2 men out there and picked up Winslow as a secondary receiver, and he was absolutely covered.
He seems to only want to go to Winslow down the middle. When other people seem to be open and he's getting the time, he still wants to go down the middle.
But one thing you have to do as a quarterback, you have to have ice water in your veins out there. You have to throw into coverage, and when they come close to interception, you've got to go right back. But I just have been amazed that he has not tried to challenge with the speed of a Trumaine Johnson. That long pass where he's just going to go down there and just throw it up for grabs and see who's the toughest and who's going to come down with it.
Low kick as Cooper takes it at his 45. Eagles get great field position again inside the Charger 45. Ty Allert was there to bring Cooper down. And on this series of downs, the Chargers could get blown out here if they're not careful. And there you see the injured player going off for San Diego.
I think
Fellows going out of there. He just suited up today. They just brought him into camp last week because of all the injuries. And he's injured himself, and he's going off. First down, they spot it right at the 45 in San Diego. Eagles in possession, and if they could go in, the way their defense is played, they'd look pretty good. Jaworski wants it now to Jackson, but he has to throw it away over there because Ken Taylor was covering well.
You know, we were seeing a game that a lot of people wouldn't think is a very interesting game. It's 9-0. But what is going on here is you're seeing great defensive play. You're seeing excellent coverage by the secondaries. You're seeing good line play. You're seeing a whale of a football game. And
if you like this one, look what's coming up. A second half of our doubleheader. Seattle at Denver. That follows this game. And Denver, of course, their first loss of the year last week against the Jets. And that one's for first place in the AFC West. Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen on hand out there to call it for you. 2nd and 10 now for Jaworski and the Eagles. They'll run it with Haddix. Big hole over the left side. He gets down to the 40, inside the 40. Lee Williams riding them along with Terry Unrein, number 98 for the Chargers.
Now here's your third down situation again. Do you change quarterbacks? I don't believe Buddy Ryan's going to change this time because it's just not long enough. It's about 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7. He might change.
That's the job that Haddix has done today. He also had a very big fumble early in the game that the Eagles defense were able to make into a non-mistake by a great stand. Out of the shotgun, Jaworski goes on 3rd down. In trouble, he gets away. He's going to try to run for it, but Lee Wilson makes him pay. Or Lee Williams, I should say, not Wilson. He makes him pay on the far side. And Jaworski, who injured that elbow, fell on it that time.
And that's one of the things that they really love about Ron Jaworski. He's tough. A lot of quarterbacks in this situation under this pressure would go down, but watch the semblance that he has. He just keeps his composure. There's the out pass. Look at that. Just about rips his jersey off. There's Lee Williams coming down the line to, in fact, make the tackle. But old Jaworski just pops right back up, and he's ready to get back out there. But again, they just did not come up with a just excellent field position. They have had it all day long.
It was Earl Wilson that chased him out of there. Lee Williams that got him and brought him down. Telchik will punt it away. Anderson deep, and he kicks it straight up in the air. Anderson coming over. They better get out of the way, and it hit a Charger. And I think Anderson fell on it. It hit Wyatt.
Well, we got a mad dive down there. What happened is Anderson was yelling, "Get away, get away, get away." It was a short kick. The secondary had dropped back to receive it, and it did, in fact, hit one of the Chargers. I think it hit Kevin Wyatt.
That's who it hit, and Anderson was alert enough to cover it.
But now that signal meant ineligible lineman downfield. I caught that quickly by Pat Haggerty. That may, in fact, force another kick.
Be interesting to see. They would start from the 15 here.
I didn't even see the flag on the field. I don't believe there's a flag on the field, but that's what Pat Haggerty signaled, and I believe he signaled an ineligible lineman downfield.
The 15 is not great field position, but it could have been worse. The way Telchik has punted today, he's been killing him inside the 10.
Now we'll have to wait for Pat Haggerty to turn around and tell us what happened, but I did not see a flag go down. And there's none laying on the field now. Now what they're doing right now is they're looking over the sideline. That's Mark Herman, number 9. He looked over to Don Coryell, who told him, "We want to re-kick it."
And that's indeed what they're going to do.
Ineligible man, downfield, number 59, re-kicked it.
Seth Joyner was downfield a little bit too early. So Telchik will have to punt it again. That was only a 24-yard punt.
Now there's where it hits, right there.
It hits Wyatt.
Yes, hit Wyatt. Now watch Anderson. He realizes it hit him. Wow, looked almost as if Philadelphia came up with that ball.
Of course, it didn't matter with the penalty, as it turns out.
Now it'll be interesting to see how much that penalty really is. It's only a 5-yard penalty. It's still 4th down. But the ball would have been on the 15-yard line of the Chargers. Let's see how this penalty, in fact, comes out with the re-kick.
Anderson would like to get a chance at making something happen. Snap a little high. Great kick from Telchik. He's going to let it hit. It's going to cost the Chargers. Well, maybe not. They knocked it back too far.
What the Chargers should have done when he hit that ball, the Chargers should have picked it up and ran with it. Instead of, they just kind of scattered, because once that ball is touched and it's not killed, the Chargers could have picked it up, in fact, run up. Now watch the tail end of this. Watch, what he's trying to do is swat the ball back. Now once he touches it there, any Charger can pick it up, and you cannot lose possession of it. Now look at the Chargers just trying to get away. They could, in fact, pick that ball up and run. Even if they fumbled it, it would come back to where it was touched.
So San Diego loses 3 yards on the decision to let him punt again. 9-0 the Eagles. McFadden with 3 field goals for Philadelphia.
And here's that power eye where they usually do that flip pass. 3 backs in the backfield. You don't see this very often.
They just toss it to Anderson this time. Student body left. And a late flag comes flying in.
Yeah, that's a personal foul by Wayne Davis, I believe. Not positive on that, but let's see who that was. I believe it was number 20. That might be Andre Waters.
Personal foul. Late hit out of bounds.
What he did is, as Anderson ran out of bounds, he just kind of gave him a shot. And watch the tail end of this. You'll see he realizes it. Watch right here. There's the hit. Now look at that. See him put his hands up? Oh, I didn't mean that. And there's the little old yellow flag.
That gets the Chargers out of a hole in a hurry. They were at their 13-yard line, and when the officials spot it, it'll be up at the 38-yard line. So 25 yards on that play when you include the penalty. Anderson with 51 yards today unofficially on 9 carries. Eagles now penalized for 64 yards. The Chargers 66. A little bit sloppy in that department. Herman to the air. Down the middle and a sliding grab by Johnson in Philadelphia territory. Evan Cooper was there with him.
And they have got to go more to Trumaine Johnson, because that time he's in one-on-one coverage. He can go anywhere he wants to, and with his type of speed, he can get open. Now he's going to come right straight across towards the right of your screen, and you can see he's got man-to-man coverage. He's already beaten his coverage man. Unfortunately has to slide, but if he catches that ball in stride, he could pick up 18, 20 more yards possibly.
He's the kind of guy that if he gets behind you, he stays there.
All they do is strike up the band.
Inside a minute left in the third quarter. First down, Chargers at the Eagle 49. Herman now in trouble from behind. Guns it for Winslow, who doesn't come down with it. And in days of yore, Winslow would come down with that pass.
Well, he should have come down with that pass. He's a little bit hesitant as he went up for it. That's not the Kelvin Winslow that we're used to seeing. Kellen really should have come down with this ball. You'll see. And watch the hesitancy by Herman. He just doesn't know where to throw right there. He's getting a lot of pressure. Now watch right here at the tail end of that. Look how high he goes. It goes right off his fingertips. Of course, I guess you can kind of contribute that to a wet ball.
Winslow's a guy who, if you can believe this, from 1980 through 84, averaged 6 catches a game for 4 years. That's a lot of grabs. They're going deep. Johnson and Roynell Young were back there. And is there a flag? No.
Wow, he really had him beat. That's the type of play that I'm surprised they have not gone to earlier. If Trumaine Johnson stays out wide and the pass is thrown right, he catches that for a touchdown, and Don Coryell knows it. That time Roynell Young had to come all the way over. Now watch right here. You'll see he beats his defender. There, he's got his defender beat. Now there's Roynell Young coming across. He's just helping on the play. He's not really the man that was covering him.
Nobody was covering him.
Nobody had him.
Chargers are just 2 of 11 on third down conversions. Wes Chandler is in the game for San Diego. Here comes the blitz, and down he goes. Gary Cobb, number 50, the linebacker, came in untouched.
And Herman really gets up slow as he walks away. But watch this. The blitz, there's just not enough people. You got to dump the ball quickly in that situation, and down goes Mark Herman under a lot of pressure, and again takes him out of one of their best field goal positions. Least field goal position.
And they will have to punt it again. Cobb, the leading sack man for the Eagles on the year, you saw with his 6th there.
You almost get the feeling as a player watching this, a former player, that something has got to spark this San Diego team. A reverse, a big pass, something's got to give them a charge. But these Eagles have really played excellent football defensively.
And there's the gun ending the third quarter here in Philadelphia. Done much offensively. And this is a team that had over 500 yards in offense a week ago against Kansas City. A game in which Herman played the entire second half.
And here come the Eagles. They're coming after him.
Moishenko to touch it off. Low kick again. Cooper at his 19. Trying to get outside. Good coverage from the Chargers that time, and they were able to run him down. Wayne Davis, number 20, was down there along with Buford McGee. We checked the ticker. Cleveland closing the gap on Minnesota there. And the Jets well out in front of New Orleans, with Pittsburgh still with probably the upset of the day so far.
And look how close Detroit is to Chicago, 10-7.
Well, if they could come back and pull something off there. San Francisco knotted with Green Bay. Miami and Indianapolis really knocking heads. Fourth quarter at Indianapolis in the Hoosier Dome. First down, Eagles on their own 21-yard line. Haddix, the lone setback behind Jaworski, who will throw. Spagnola, he's corralled, and he just didn't have anywhere to go. Great defensive coverage. John Sullivan, who's coming to that secondary.
Well, we talked about quarterbacks trying to go back to those favorite receivers. Kenny Jackson has been non-existent today. He threw one time, threw over top of his head, but wow, he has gone to Spagnuolo 7 completions.
And Mike Quick with just the one catch.
One catch, other than Spagnuolo. And no one has really played a great offensive game for the Philadelphia Eagles, as they have not for the San Diego Chargers either.
Pretty similar there, where Winslow is leading their receivers with receptions today. So it's been a tight ends day here in Philadelphia. Here's the quick flick to Haddix. Tries to spin away from Billy Ray Smith, but he can't do it, and he got some help from Gary Plummer. Nearly a late hit.
And you hear the fans booing. They know it too. They're a little bit upset. Now here comes our third, and this is about time for our third and long quarterback. And it is. Randall Cunningham's coming in.
If nothing else, the fans sure get excited about it. Cunningham had the only completion to Mike Quick today. That was in a third and long situation.
Well, he says he's only in his second year. He said, I got a lot of rookie-isms to get out of me, and it's hard to play quarterback in this league in only your second year, but he's an exciting athlete. He makes a lot of things happen.
Even harder when you only come in on third and long. That's when you don't want to be in there. He's in trouble. O'Neal chasing him, and that's why he's in there. Benson finally hauls him down, but that should have been a 10-yard loss.
I was really impressed that time with Thomas Benson's speed to run him down. Cunningham is out there. He almost got outside and was going to pick up a big chunk of yardage. But watch this now. Watch what happens to him here. He gets under pressure. You're supposed to step up in the pocket. Now there's the pressure by Lee Williams from the outside. Now here comes 91, and that's Leslie O'Neal. Now he steps up. Now watch the speed of Benson. Benson, number 57, he's a linebacker. He just runs him down from the backside. Good hit there. And Sullivan comes in to clean it up.
Telchik to punt it away. Another great punt from Telchik. Anderson backed up to his 26. Boy, it looked like the Chargers would get great field position, and they're stuck down at their 33. Flag is down.
Now this flag was thrown very early, so most likely it's going to be a holding call against the defense.
50-yard punt from Telchik. You think the Eagles will just let it lie? It's against the Eagles.
Well, Pat says, wait a minute now. I may have made a mistake on that hold a second. He said, I think it was holding against those guys over there.
Well, that would be an automatic first down if it happened before the change of possession.
Well, it was thrown very early, and what they did is they didn't allow the end man on the line, the end that's running down to coverage, the only man who can leave before the punt actually takes place. They didn't allow him to run down.
Number 22 on the kick.
Boy, there's an intense individual. Don Coryell's not happy with his offensive performance today, but he's got to be pleased with his defense. They have really played well.
And with 12:24 remaining in this game, the Chargers have the ball. The game, the Chargers, who have lost 6 in a row, their longest losing streak since 1975, have been shut out so far. Something that hasn't happened since October of 1984. Herman to Trumaine Johnson. He can get up. And he's dropped at the 21-yard line. Gary Cobb, number 50, who's all of a sudden the spark plug of the Eagle defense.
Well, for Mark Herman, this is do or die time. If you ever want to do it, you have to do it now. He's got to get some semblance of offense. He's got to get some consistency out there. They've got to run the ball, set up the pass, and they've got to drive down and get some type of a score, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown.
Picked up 6 or 7 on that play. And it'll be 2nd and 5, actually more like 2nd and 4. Herman will throw it again. He's going for Trumaine Johnson, and he overthrew him. Johnson had Cooper beaten on the near side. Time to check the 10-minute ticker and see what's going on around the rest of the league. No change in that Minnesota game, but Cleveland's just a touchdown away. Pittsburgh really having their way against Cincinnati. And the Jets beating New Orleans easily. They almost look for Detroit to score and go ahead of Chicago in that one. Third down for the Chargers. Herman's in trouble. Fumble! It was Andre Waters from behind that caused it, and let's see who's got it. That's McKnight for the Chargers, number 60.
And they're down there. You see the referee in there. He's down there. He has no idea who has. Now he's going to signal Eagles have got it.
Looks like Reggie White, number 92, got up off the bottom of the pile, and Herman is injured, and I can understand why, because Waters really buried him.
And this is going to bring up an interesting situation, because if, in fact, their defense is able to hold here, with Mark Herman injured, the only person that they have backing up is Tom Flick, who has not thrown a pass. He's thrown one pass, doesn't have a completion, and there he is pacing the sideline. But Mark Herman's been under a lot of pressure. Watch the pressure that's under him. Now you have to sit back there. Now there's the defensive safety coming on a blitz. There's Bird. There's the hit down in the pile. Out comes the ball. You see everybody scrambling for the ball, and the referee ran in there because he did not have an idea who had it, clearly.
Well, you got to give these Philadelphia fans credit for one thing. They came out in the rain, and they're really spirited out here today. I mean, they're fired up as well as the Eagles on the field.
Well, there's been a lot of fans here that have survived a lot of years waiting for a winner. I think of some of the great fans when I was a young man and raised right across in New Jersey here. And I can think of the fans, the guys that I know personally, Steve Scherr, for once, who has just persevered with his team for year after year waiting. And there's a lot of those fans. This town wants a winner.
You saw that 3 turnovers today for San Diego. That's 29 on the year, and that pretty much adds up to a 1-6 season.
Well, one of the things that Buddy Ryan did when he changed his defense today was put Reggie Singletary in there. He said, I can't keep this young man out. He's a rookie. He just does something exciting. At that time, he came up with one of the biggest plays that he's come up in his young career, a fumble down on the 15-yard line.
After they finally unpeeled it, he was the one who had it. There is Flick getting loose on the sideline. He may have a heck of a task if he comes in, if the Eagles can go in and score a touchdown. Haddock's the lone setback behind Jaworski. Haddock gets the toss. And he's pulled down by Woody Lowe, number 51, the 11-year veteran out of Alabama. And as I say Alabama, I have to mention your school, Penn State, yesterday.
Yeah, we were in a squeaker yesterday, Penn State in Alabama.
You were wearing blue and white all day.
I'll tell you one thing, though, they really have jazzed up the uniform since I left Penn State.
Yeah, I think they wear white socks now.
Look at Buddy Ryan. He's so intense down there. He realizes they cannot make a mistake in this situation. There's just too much time left for the Chargers to come back.
Second down. This is Crawford. He's dropped just as he gets near the line of scrimmage at the 10. Woody Lowe again, and Lee Williams riding him over the top that time. So it'll bring up a big 3rd down play.
Well, the one thing you don't want to do in this situation is make a critical mistake. If you're going to have a pass play, you've got to have a safe pass play, one that can't be tipped and intercepted, because the worst you want to come out is with a field goal and a 12-0 lead. That changes the complexion where 2 touchdowns the Chargers would have to score to change. So Jaworski knows that. He's a veteran of 13 years back there. He knows the situation.
3rd and 5. The Eagles 4 of 13 on 3rd down conversions today. Crawford is in the slot to the top of your screen. He's going to loft it out there for Quick. Touchdown!
Well, this is what I call the safe pass. All it is an out pattern. Quick looks back to the ball. It's an out, and he turns up. You can see he just beat the defender quickly. Kind of reminiscent of his name. Look at there, 39th career touchdown. That's his 5th this season. He's got unbelievable speed, great hands. But the thing that they did is they played it safe. Had that pass not been caught by Quick, it would have been an incomplete pass, and at least they would have gotten a field goal out of it.
McFadden tacks on the conversion. Nice toss from Jaworski, and the Bluebirds, of course, now cheering it. 16-0 Eagles with 10:02 remaining in this game. We'll come back to Veterans Stadium for more in a moment. Dave Rowe, the Eagles have just scored on a touchdown pass from Jaworski to Quick and lead it 16-0. The kickoff fielded by Anderson at the 8. Anderson up across the 40 before he's brought down. And he was finally dropped by Anthony Toney, number 25. Tom Flick is going to come in, and you see those numbers. But, Dave, the important ones, I guess, for Flick would be what he did against the Eagles in the preseason in just one half.
You know that Buddy Ryan does not want to see him. Buddy Ryan was on, coached that team when he took a half against the same Philadelphia team, and he had unbelievable statistics. Look at the face of Mark Herman. He suffered what we understand to be a concussion. He's disoriented. Where he is, he does not know. But wow.
Well, Flick knows where he is, and that's on the hot seat. He threw for 287 yards and 4 touchdowns against these Eagles in one half of a preseason game this year. Plenty of time. Now flags are down, and so is he. Giles, Dwayne Giles, number 53, made the tackle.
And if Flick gets hurt, I don't know who they're going to bring in. I was trying to find out, and Ken Fouts, our director, was saying, who comes in if Flick gets hurt? And I could not find out. Pete Holohan, I think, Mike came in.
And there is Holohan on the sidelines, number 88. You can see him in the background. He's praying right now that Flick stays healthy.
Yes, he is.
Flick, of course, you might remember him from his days as the Washington Husky quarterback. And they signed him as a free agent this year.
Holding, number 16, offense.
Pat Haggerty gives us the holding call against the Chargers. So as if Flick needed any more duress, he's handed a 10-yard penalty as Holohan stays loose on the sidelines. 86 yards in penalties against the Chargers. As we check the ticker, Cleveland has tied Minnesota. And the rest of the scores remaining pretty much the same. 1st and 20 for the Chargers. They need a couple of miracles. Flick down the middle to Johnson at midfield. He's still on his feet and wrapped up finally and brought down. Hogue and Roynell Young were there. And Hogue is slow in getting up. In fact, not getting up at all.
I want to tell you, that was an excellent pass. That was a line drive, big league pass. I was surprised to see that. You've got Terry Hogue down the field, and their trainers come out there. He was the hitter, not the hittee.
Well, and you know that if Hogue is down, he must really be hurt because he doesn't stay down. 21-yard pickup for the Chargers on the play. Their second longest play of the day as we'll take another look at Flick. And he hits his first completion of the year with his pass down the middle of Tremaine Johnson.
But watch the pass. Watch the trajectory of the pass. Straight line pass. As Johnson turns inside, there's the ball. It's right on the money. Really was an excellent pass. Oh, boy, if this Charger team comes alive, what are you going to do?
All right, we'll be back to Veterans Stadium. 9:15 remaining. Flick just hit a 21-yard pass to Tremaine Johnson, and they have a first down at the Eagle 48. Here comes the blitz on him, and he hits Joyner. And Joyner's wrapped up at the 33-yard line. And the good news for Pete Holohan is that Flick got up.
Yeah, but watch this play. This was interesting. On the tail end of this play, Flick really had good forethought to staying in it. Now, he knows the pressure's coming. Now, watch the tail end of this. Bam, down he goes and gets bent back over. But they're in hurry-up offense now.
He got knocked into his own alignment. Now it's knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Reggie White, I believe, is the man who got a hand up there and batted it away.
Well, there's two theories of thought in this situation. You want to score quickly. You know that you have to score 17 points, 2 touchdowns and a field goal. If you can get this touchdown with about 6 minutes left, you're going to get at least 2 more times that you're going to have control of the ball if your defense does any semblance. So he wants to score with at least 6 minutes left on the clock, so he's almost guaranteed 2 more possessions.
The word on Terry Hogue from the Eagles bench is a left shoulder separation, so he is out. And the injuries continue to mount this season in the NFL. Chargers with 19 of them a week ago. Flick the throw on second down the middle for Johnson. And that was a catchable ball. Frizzell was there, but Johnson had it go off his hands.
Well, you'll watch this ball, and it's going to come right to Tremaine Johnson. He just does not come down. To watch the tail end of it. He sees that defensive back coming in there. I don't know whether he kind of just drew it down, but I'll tell you, when you see one of those defensive backs coming in your face, it has a tendency to make you put your hands down.
That'll make you drop them in a hurry. You don't care what happens to the ball. Somebody described it as walking down the street with a bag of groceries. You get hit by a car. You don't care what happens to the groceries.
That's right. You don't pick up the canned goods.
3rd and 10. They'll run it with Gary Anderson trying to get outside, and Frizzell is over there. The youngster who replaced Hogue to stop Anderson short of the first down.
And now Don Coryell's got a tough decision because he has to see whether he wants to, in fact, go for it from this position. It would be about, let's see, it would be about a 42-yard field goal, I believe it would be.
And it would bring up 4th and 4 if they decide to go for the first down. Well, there's no decision here. They're going for the first down.
Big play for Tom Flick.
What do you call here? Do you throw it or do you run Anderson again?
Oh, you've got to throw in this situation. You have to throw, but I'd run Gary Anderson out of the backfield, maybe get him one-on-one.
He's up to the top of the screen. Flick may have it himself, and he does. Inside the 20. A great improvisation for Flick as he gets the first down.
That was an excellent play. He's going to call timeout because he realizes, again, that clock is ticking down.
Timeout, San Diego.
But what does he do? He drops back. He doesn't pick up his primary receiver. Now what he does is just scramble up forward. Now watch his footwork. He's got good footwork in there. He's a much more mobile quarterback than what Mark Herman was in the first half, and he in fact does pick up that first down. That's probably the biggest play for the Chargers, and they have now made their deepest penetration because I don't believe they've been inside the 20-yard line in the rest of the game.
They tell us from the bench now that the concussion for Mark Herman is a mild one, but it's only mild if it happens to somebody else. If it's you, it's not mild.
I've had that happen to me.
Don't forget to stay right here because we've got an exciting second half of our doubleheader coming your way. Seattle and Denver to battle it out for the AFC Western Division lead at Mile High Stadium in Denver. Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen coming along for you out there, getting ready for that big one.
And that's going to be an excellent offensive showing. You've got Craig out there and Elway and all the firepower that both those teams have. They both should make the playoffs.
And it looks as though they'll battle it out for the Western Division title all the way unless your old team starts making some noise, which they seem to be doing, trying for the 5th in a row today.
Well, there's no happiness in Raiderville when you lose. I can tell you that. But I have really been impressed with Tom Flick so far in this drive. He has, in fact, taken the ball from the 42-yard line, his own 42-yard line, and had a nice drive. And he's got the first offensive surge. They're now at least in field goal range, hopefully in touchdown range if you're out there and you're a San Diego Charger fan.
And for Flick already, the amount of confidence, if you had a meter next to him and touched him with it, it would be going straight up.
You can see there that the Philadelphia has scored in every quarter they've scored.
Let's take a moment now for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is KYW-TV, Channel 3 in Philadelphia.
All right, first down for the Chargers at the Eagle 20. Flick with the blitz, and he gets out of there. For Winslow. Incomplete, and you look for a flag, but there isn't one. And Winslow can't believe it.
I couldn't believe that either. The defensive back just tackled Winslow.
Andre Waters, number 20, was the man, and you pretty much described it, Dave, accurately there. He tackled him.
I think the ball hit Waters in the back, and I think that's why they did not call it. But Don Coryell is upset. You can see the intenseness on him. But watch this and see if, in fact, the ball doesn't hit Waters. It must hit Waters because all he's doing is tackling Winslow. Now watch there on the tail end. See the ball? Now he's just tackling Winslow.
Looked like it hit Winslow's hand.
Maybe that was just excellent timing.
That's how the officials saw it.
If you're an Eagles fan, it certainly was.
Second down and 10. Here they come. For the end zone for Joyner. Touchdown! A great throw and a fine catch from the veteran Charlie Joyner. His first touchdown catch of the year.
Well, number 18 has played 18 years as a wide receiver in the NFL, and this is one of the reasons that he's lasted 18 years. He has tremendous concentration to look the ball in. Now he is backing up, but he's got that great concentration to look that ball. Look at the backing up, falling down, looks the ball all the way in and comes down. And look at the referee right in there saying, yes, he caught it. Look at him shaking his head.
So the Chargers, remember Dave Rowe said they had to score with 6 minutes left, 7:49 remaining. So they beat that tempo. And Benershka nearly has it blocked, but he drives it through there. And it's now a 16-7 game as Flick hit 3 of 6 for 53 yards and a touchdown.
You know, the interesting thing is that Flick is so calm. Look at this picture of Flick. Yep, that's a touchdown. Now watch his emotions. It's almost as if he expected to do that. Now you might start questioning Don Coryell, saying, hey, when Mark Herman was ineffective, how come you didn't bring that fellow in? Because he just drove his team about 60 yards for a score. Very impressive score, and Don Coryell has to be happy with those results.
And as we mentioned, Flick was 0 for 1 on the year prior to that drive, and that touchdown pass is his first NFL touchdown pass of his career. So, you know, he's very happy, even though he remains calm on the outside.
Now you've got Don Coryell there. He's clapping his hands. Come on, defense, you got to hold him. Now, if you're a Charger fan, what you want to do is you want to kick the ball deep, hold them down there, get good field position, allow your offense to drive down. If you're an Eagle fan, as Charlie Joyner looks at them, you've got to take that ball and you've got to drive and pick up at least 2 or 3 first downs.
And the Charger defense, a unit that has come under severe criticism over the years, has played well all day, and this will be their test under duress when Philadelphia gets the ball back.
Well, I don't know if Charlie Joyner there in our picture earlier wanted to play 18 years when he first started playing, but I don't know that he slowed down. That last pass, he was wide open on that pass, looked the ball all the way in, and came down with what has to be the biggest play of this game so far for the Chargers. Now the Eagles are thinking onside kick. They've got about 8 or 9 men up inside the 10-yard mark, so they're thinking onside kick.
Boychenko will kick off. Crawford is deep. You wouldn't think they'd do it just yet, though. False start from Boychenko, and he wasn't sure. Now he's ready. And he drives it deep and high. Crawford at the 5. Runs into his own man, and then he goes down. Jimmy Ware was down there to make the tackle, number 81. An 11-yard return, and now the Chargers have him inside the 20, Dave.
Yes, they do, and if you're a Charger fan out there, this Charger defense is going to come out. They're juiced up, and they're ready to go. The secret is, are the Eagles ready to go? Are they, in fact, going to be able to drive and pick up 1 or 2 first downs and get that clock down? There's Tom Flick. He was on the phone upstairs to the coaches saying, okay, coach, what do you see? Do you see this? Do you see that? Did they have zone coverage? Or what can we use? So an important young man right now in this game.
Myers is in there in the Philadelphia backfield, and this is Keith. Billy Ray Smith strung it out well, and he got help from Sullivan, number 33. But well, Billy Ray Smith, they say he's finally playing great football at that outside linebacker spot this year, and that's where he belongs.
Wow, look at Pittsburgh. They are really rolling it on Cincinnati.
Cleveland is now taking the lead over Minnesota. Minnesota had the lead all afternoon, and look at the Jets. New Orleans is closing in. Chicago has beaten Detroit. That's the first final in for the day. And San Francisco has gone out ahead of Green Bay finally. And here's a couple other quick finals. Kansas City struggled, but they won, and same story for Miami. A loss of a couple of yards on that play from Byers, who has 8 yards rushing today. And there's Spagnuolo. Woody Lowe rides him down well short of the first down, over near the 18-yard line.
And do you see what Spagnuolo's doing? Look, I stopped right there. Keep that clock going. When he was running to the sideline, he almost tried to kneel down to keep that clock. He knows you want to keep that clock going, but the referee stopped the clock.
Randall Cunningham into the game at quarterback for the Eagles. And Vincey Glenn, number 25, comes into the San Diego secondary. And Cunningham faced with that 3rd and long. He's been exciting, Dave. They have to give him that.
Oh, yes, he certainly has. And when he threw a pass in that 3rd down situation, he threw a very nice pass.
He hit quick for a big gainer and a first down earlier. Down the middle, he hits Garrity for another big play at the 40-yard line. Vincey Glenn was covering, but a 22-yard pickup, and that is a big play.
Oh, that was really a big play. But watch this secondary. They're dropping back. There's not a lot of pressure. You're going to see Garrity. He's in the right of your screen, certainly across the middle. He's wide open in that deep zone. You see the two defenders reacting back to him. We've got an injured Charger down on the field.
Vincey Glenn, number 25, who made the tackle, and they boo Jaworski as he comes back on.
Situation quarterback play. I've never seen that in the NFL, but evidently it's working.
Jaworski threw the only touchdown pass of the game for Philadelphia. Cunningham, in his relief role, has hit 3 of 3 for 58 yards.
But more importantly for Cunningham, it shows that he is a pocket passer because he has thrown, as I said, now 3 very nice passes. He found Quick on that one for about 25 yards, and now he found Garrity. He sat in the pocket and picked it up. So he's not just a scrambling type quarterback. He, in fact, is a pocket passer.
Such a big play there, because had Philadelphia been forced to punt, San Diego would have had very good field position.
Right.
And now the Eagles have it at their own 40, and even if they do have to punt, the Chargers would have that much further to go.
Well, for the Eagles, that is one of the biggest plays for this Eagles team. They had to make that first down. As you said, if they don't, the Chargers get the ball inside the 50-yard line.
Don't forget, November 1st, Super Saturday, as NBC Sports presents the premier event in horse racing live from Santa Anita. It's the Breeders' Cup. Next Saturday at 2 Eastern Time, racing's richest day. 7 championship races with $10 million in purses. The Breeders' Cup right here on NBC Sports. You contribute some of that to that $10 million?
Well, I'm a little bit big to be a jockey, but for $10 million, I'd try it.
You'll ride anything for $10 million, right?
Well, it's good to see Vincey Glenn sitting up there. That's a good sign. I think he just got the wind knocked out of him.
He's the rookie out of Indiana State. Well, Garrity certainly did get wide open on that play.
Yeah, on a 2-deep zone like the Chargers were running, they were waiting. They were trying to get pressure on Randall Cunningham, and they did not. But when you run a 2-deep zone, you have to drop those 2 men in the center so deep, and they are to react to whatever way the ball is thrown. So there's not man-on-man coverage, and Garrity just circled in the middle. He saw the opening, circled around, and came up with what seems to be a really big play for this Eagle team.
Chargers have had 3 games this year in which they've scored only 7 points, and that's been the story today for them. As Vincey Glenn goes off. Some of the fans starting up a cheer for Randall Cunningham. But Jaworski is the man in the controls right now. Jackson in motion. They give it to Byers. Benson the first through there. They really got Byers smelled out. Sullivan got in there that time also, but it was Benson, who's played a great game at linebacker, number 57, that made the big play.
Timeout, San Diego.
San Diego takes a timeout as we look again.
Now you have to take this ball and turn up. You can see right there that Benson just comes up through the hole, and Byers just is getting nowhere. I don't think he hasn't run many times for plus yardage. He has been dropped several times for minus yardage.
Well, his totals now on the day read 9 carries for a -2 yards.
That's what I thought. He had many times.
Timeout, San Diego, number 2.
And he lost 2 that time.
Now that's an interesting call by San Diego. They in fact got the Eagles into a situation where it's going to be 2nd down and long. They call a timeout because they know that that clock is running down. It's under 6 minutes, and they know that they're going to get another chance to get that ball, but they don't want to waste the time. The good quarterbacks like Jaworski, those seasoned quarterbacks, come up to the line of scrimmage. There's a 30-second clock in each end zone. They can see that, and they really milk that clock. They run it right down, then they snap. There's the 30-second clock. That's what Jaworski is looking at. And when he comes up to the line of scrimmage, all he does is just wait for that thing to get to about 3, 2, hike, and he snaps the ball and uses 30 seconds. Then when they run the play, it uses about 8 or 9 seconds, and then when they reset the ball. So you can theoretically run about 40 or 50 seconds off with each running play.
Chargers down to their last timeout. They need 2 possessions in order to win this game. Down 16-7 with 5:52 left, and we'll check some of the other scores from around the league. Still remaining the same. They're Pittsburgh really doing it to Cincinnati today. And the Raiders moving out to their 5th straight win. San Francisco, as we mentioned, took a 4-point lead there over Green Bay in the 4th quarter. They were down 14-0 at one point to 49ers. 2nd down for the Eagles. 2nd and 12. Jaworski with a blitz coming from Smith, and now they've got it. Everybody there. Leslie O'Neal, number 91, but it was Billy Ray Smith that got in there first.
And Billy Ray Smith, number 54, has taken a lot of criticism because he used to play middle linebacker. There's Tom Flick on the phone saying, hey, coach, we're going to get this ball back. What do you want me to do? But Billy Ray Smith, they moved him to his outside position, and he really has come into his own. You'll see him on the left part of your screen. There's Haddix trying to pick him up. There's 54 in the very left part of your screen, right in there in the sack, as was, as you said, Leslie O'Neal and several of the Chargers.
Cunningham is coming at quarterback. 3rd and 20. Well, if he pulls this rabbit out of his hat, he's really done something.
You wait till you hear the crowd if he in fact pulls this one out.
Chargers with a 5-man rush. He's lofted it for Jackson. Oh! Just off his fingers, he had Ken Taylor beaten.
Oh, what a talent. That was a great throw. He just laid that out there, and Kenny Jackson almost ran under it. It's a game of inches. You'll see it. It's going to be at the bottom of your screen. Kenny Jackson's just on a fly pattern. He's got his man beat. Now watch the difference between an unbelievable catch. There it is, right there, right off the fingertips. What a talent that Randall Cunningham has displayed. He is the quarterback of the future for Buddy Ryan and his Philadelphia Eagles. Jaworski knows that, but Cunningham needs that seasoning. He just needs that time back there. Pick up those defenses. But he's got great raw talent.
You could almost hear Kenny Taylor praying that that ball was overthrown. He knew he was beat right from the first step. Telchik, who's punted well all day, hangs it up there for Anderson as it starts to rain again. At his 26, Anderson in trouble, and down he goes short of the 30. Jody Schultz, a linebacker, got down there first.
When I first started playing football, they used to call this the special teams. They still do. The coverage of punts and the coverage of kickoffs. But that is a very important part of the game. And today it's probably more so. When I played, they used to put all the defensive linemen out there and everybody'd run down. But today, it's 1/3 of the offensive scheme.
Wasn't it George Allen that first hired a special teams coach?
First hired a special teams coach because all of a sudden he looked down and said, hey, wait a minute, you know, we've got 3 reels of this game, and 1 reel is kicks. So he said that must be an important part of the game, and in fact it is. The Eagles have had excellent coverage.
Timmy Ware into the game, number 81 at wide receiver for the Chargers. First down. 44-yard punt from Telchik, who's had a good day. They'll run it with Anderson, and that is a little bit surprising. He loses a yard, in fact. Reggie White, number 92.
Well, that's kind of a keep you honest play. What you do in that situation, you never know. If Gary Anderson breaks through that line, he's in the secondary, he can pick up 20, 30 yards. They tried it, but now they're in hurry-up offense.
You see the clock at the top of your screen. Flick. Incomplete, intended for Ware.
I hate to say this, but I watched Trumaine Johnson again, and he is turning Evan Cooper every way but loose. He is down here. He was playing one-on-one. And I know the coaching staff of the Eagles saw that, and they have got to give him some help. Trumaine Johnson has that great blazing speed that we've talked about all game. They just have not been able to get it to him, but he just completely turned Evan Cooper around.
And most teams that have played the Eagles this year have picked on Cooper with Roynell Young on the other side, but the Chargers have not today. And now Timmy Ware comes wide to Cooper's side. Flick with a big 3rd and 11. Here's Ware against Cooper. Did he get the first down? Depends on where they spot it.
Boy, this is close. Now, when he catches this ball, he has to look down to make sure both feet are in bounds. And when he does, he's right there on that orange flag. And watch this. Fans at home, you can watch and see what a great wide receiver has to do. He has to get those feet down, plus he has to be cognizant or aware of where that first down is. Now, there's, looking right down, there's the feet. He steps on the orange thing, and in fact, he did pick up a first down.
And a very big one for the Chargers. It keeps them alive. That was 3rd and 11. And as you said, Dave, they went after Cooper that time. This time, Trumaine Johnson is one-on-one with Cooper. And they'll run it with Anderson again. This time, he's got a blocker out in front. And he picks up 6 or 7, but he stayed in bounds as Andre Waters sealed it off out there.
Well, that's a little bit surprising for me. In this situation, you have to realize that the pass is what's going to win for you. You've got to get down. You've got to score with at least 2 minutes on the clock so that you can, in fact, kick deep and hold the Eagles.
They need 2 possessions because they need 2 scores, and Trumaine Johnson has it bouncing complete in front of him. Probably not the best throw from Flick so far today.
No, but he had a defensive back right in his face. That was a safety blitz. And that time they were coming right up his face. I think that was Bernard Wilson coming right up the gut. And he just had to throw that ball in there. And Trumaine Johnson had to make the adjustment on the run. He has to make that adjustment once he sees that safety blitz.
Another big 3rd down play for San Diego. Seems like we've been saying that a lot for them today. From their own 45. They need a touchdown and a field goal to win this game with 4:11 remaining.
You look in the eyes of that quarterback, you can see a pretty cool customer. He doesn't seem like he's rattled at all. Winslow
stays in the block. And Ware got away with a push. He pushed Timmy. Oh, and there comes the flag now. Timmy Ware pushed Cooper, and it was a very late flag.
I certainly thought he did. We're going to have to wait and see what the official says. But it looked to me as if he pushed off.
Timmy Ware out of Southern Cal, signed as a free agent this week because of all of the injuries. Wes Chandler being injured, but he caught 3 touchdown passes against the Eagles in the preseason game from Flick.
Oh, Pat Haggerty saying, well, now, what happened over there?
Well, the official that was closest to it didn't call it.
Right, he certainly did. Here he comes, the call.
Offensive pass interference, number 81.
Well, there wasn't much doubt that it appeared he was going to get away with a push until the late flag came in.
Well, he certainly did. The offensive man has the defensive man has just as much right to that football as the offensive man has. And each one has a semblance of rules that they have to play by, and you just cannot push off to gain an advantage.
96 yards in penalties against the Chargers. They would have had the ball inside the 35 of Philadelphia. Now they're faced with 3rd and 15 from their own 35. Flick going for Trumaine Johnson, knocked away by Roynell Young. That's the way you play defensive corner.
Well, we talked about Roynell Young and the great year that he's having. Buddy Ryan says that he really is having an outstanding year. He's playing one-on-one coverage. This is not the man that you go and attack. Watch this coverage. He's running stride for stride, comes over the shoulder, knocks the ball away, pulls both arms down, and doesn't allow him to reach out and grab it. You can't play defensive corner any better than Roynell Young has played on that play and has played this season.
And they keep throwing his way today instead of going after Cooper.
And that's why Buddy Ryan likes Roynell Young.
Timmy Ware is wide to the bottom of the screen on Cooper. 4th and 15. This, for all intents and purposes, is the ball game for the Chargers. Flick overthrows Trumaine Johnson. And the crowd applauding Buddy Ryan's defensive team's effort.
Well, with 3.5 minutes left in the game, I was a little bit hesitant to say that he should go on that 4th down play, because if he doesn't make it, there's no chance right now. They've used their timeouts. If you punt the ball away, you've got a chance. But right now, it looks awfully bleak for the San Diego Chargers, and they have played so well today on defense.
That's a time when they'll have to tackle the football and hope that it pops loose. Tom Flick, in relief, did a great job.
And you can bet your bottom dollar that Jaworski was in there saying, hey, don't let them pull that ball out. Hold it with 2 hands. Keep it in there.
Anthony Toney hasn't had a carry all day, and he carries here. That's interesting.
And you can see out there that the Eagles are playing just straight rock'em sock'em, I guess you call it Buddy Ryan style football. Everybody's in tight. They're running just straight handoffs, nothing fancy. And there's the 10-minute ticker to update a lot of people on a lot of final games now.
Well, the upset there, Pittsburgh over Cincinnati. The word from the Eagles bench is that Michael Haddix has suffered a slight injury. They expect him back, but right now it's the rookie Anthony Toney out of Texas A&M. You talk about somebody who might be a little stiff coming in there, and that would be Toney. Picked up only a couple. Now he takes the toss. Big hole. Gets away from Benson. Look at the rookie Toney inside the 10. Gilbert ran him out of bounds.
Now you know why Buddy Ryan likes him. He's tough. He said he comes off the ball strong. He was a 2nd-round pick. Now watch this explosion through the hole. He sees the seam. There's the bounce out to the outside. Turns it on up and just has great speed. And as you talked about earlier, a lot of rookies in this carrying backfield, the running backs for the Philadelphia Eagles. Buddy Ryan made choices. He got rid of Ernest Jackson, who had run for 2 1,000-yard seasons the last 2 years, and everybody said, what are you doing? He said, I like these young kids, and I'm going with them.
26 yards for Toney on that one. Here he goes the other way. Not this time. Thomas Benson again, number 57, along with Gary Plummer, number 50. The clock tells the story as it's winding down on the Chargers in what would be their 11th consecutive loss on the road, and that is a Charger team record.
You know, a lot of people have talked about Don Coryell not perhaps being there next year or maybe staying one more year. And I know he had no idea that his team would end up like this in the beginning of the season. He's got to be very, very frustrated. He's a very, very intense person. Boy, when he coaches, he wants to have fun, but he wants to win. And in the National Football League, the only thing to do is to win.
One of those guys that you never hear a bad word spoken about him from his players. They'd like nothing better than to perform for him. The 2-minute warning down on the field. Eagles having it their way as they lead at 16-7 with 2 minutes left. We'll be back to Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia after this. Become a local hero, and you know, Dave, given a field goal here and there, they could be looking at a 5-2 season instead of what it's going to be 3-5 if they hold on.
Absolutely, but with the young players, you have a lot of inconsistency, and that's what Buddy Ryan has experienced. As you said, a field goal in the Dallas game, and they would maybe have won. A field goal in the Chicago game, they would have won. So a couple field goals here and there, but that is a sign of an inconsistent team, which is most characteristically a young team, and that's what Buddy Ryan has. A lot of young players out there. He said our future is 2 or 3 years from now.
And he was going into that to develop that thought a little further. He said that's why I got rid of a lot of guys. And here is the way it's gone for the Eagles this year as Buddy Ryan continues to surround himself with his players. And those are the 2 games. Those 2 teams are fair.
Yes, but there's the victories, and they were over 2 exceptional teams. The Rams have an excellent team, and so does Atlanta. So a couple field goals, and they could really have a much different season.
Straight up the gut they go as Lee Williams holds on. Tony trying to bust it in there. Well, this is a big victory for the Eagles in the sense that they would have beaten a team that they were favored against. They beat 2 teams that they were superior underdogs. And you might say any team gets fired up against a good team like that. But here's a game in which they were the favorite, and they played very well.
And young Mr. Tony coming in there. Anthony Tony already has 4 carries for 32 yards. That's an 8-yard average. That's not too bad.
No, he may open some eyes. They're down at the 2, 3rd down. Byers in there. Byers over the top. Touchdown.
Got to help Keith Byers in his situation because his statistics have not been good today, but he does in fact get his first touchdown.
First NFL touchdown for Byers out of Ohio State. Buckeye fans have seen that a few times.
Yes, they have. And Don Coryell, he doesn't care if he sees it again.
He's seen it a few too many times this year. McFadden on for the conversion, but these Eagle fans who came out to celebrate today are going to go home with the victory taste in their mouth.
Can you imagine that's the first rushing touchdown by the Philadelphia Eagles this season?
Other than from Cunningham on a scramble. 23-7, the Eagles in the lead. Slayton along with Dave Rowe. A minute 12 remaining, and you look at the score, 23-7 Philadelphia, and you say, oh, that's San Diego defense again. But they have played a great game. In fact, kept the Chargers in the game. And our Budweiser MVP for the day is going to be Randall Cunningham, the Eagles quarterback, who in relief situation hit 3 of 4 for 58 yards. And Dave, the big one was that long one to Garrity.
Well, he really did. He really came through when they needed it on that 3rd down. He proved he was a pocket quarterback, and he threw a strike into that Greg Garrity and really picked up that big situation.
And that was with like 6.5 minutes left, and the Eagles in trouble 16-7 after the Chargers had just scored a touchdown. McFadden happy. He's kicked 3 field goals and just drove the ball into the end zone.
Even the coaches are coming over, tapping him on the back. Good job.
They don't talk to the kickers that often, do they?
No, not especially when they miss them. You don't talk to them when they miss them.
And he missed a big one last week against the Cowboys. A 31-yarder. So right now he's had things his way today, as have the Eagles. Flick to throw for the Chargers. Trumaine Johnson sliding in at the 38-yard line. Flick to throw again for Joyner, but he underthrew him at the Eagle 40-yard line. As we said, our Budweiser MVP today, Randall Cunningham, the young Philadelphia quarterback who on 3rd and long situations came in and relieved Ron Jaworski and did a great job today. Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVPs selected in today's games. So congratulations to Randall Cunningham, the young quarterback for the Eagles out of Nevada, Las Vegas, just in his second year. 50 seconds remaining, as you see in the clock. Flick will throw it again for Johnson, and he can't hang on. Evan Cooper was there. Flick playing in relief of Mark Herman, who left the game with a concussion. Mark Herman playing instead of Dan Fouts, who had suffered his second concussion in 3 weeks last week. So the Chargers having a tough time suiting up quarterbacks.
And who takes the snaps next week? Pete Holohan.
He was the most nervous guy in the stadium when Flick went in there, and indeed when Flick got hit from behind on the one play.
Well, you know, you just wonder whether this game would have been different if, in fact, when Mark Herman was ineffective and wasn't able to avoid that pressure, whether it could have been different with Flick, because he's thrown some nice passes.
Heading for Joyner on that one. Don't forget our doubleheader game immediately following the conclusion of this game, and that'll be Seattle at Denver in the battle for the AFC West lead in Mile High Stadium. Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen on hand to bring you all of that action, so stay with NBC for that one. And of course tonight, Game 7 of the World Series.
I almost turned that off with 2 outs. I'll tell America, I almost turned that off last night with 2 outs and 2 strikes again in the bottom of the ninth.
I wish I had. I would have had more sleep last night.
What a series.
Went on forever. Flick throwing again. This time Roynell Young covering Timmy Ware. Let's take a final look around the league at the scores. Don Coryell still after the officials. He wanted an interference call there, but he won't get it. And the Eagles will take over on downs. There they are, Cleveland beating Minnesota. Big victory for the Browns, especially coupled with Cincinnati's loss. The Raiders leading Houston in the 4th quarter. San Francisco coming from behind against Green Bay, and they lead now in the 4th quarter. Miami a winner, so is Kansas City. The early scores, that Denver game, the Broncos out to an early lead, and Dallas over St. Louis in the 1st quarter. We'll be taking you to Mile High Stadium right after this one for the Seattle-Denver game, as Jaworski just kneels down to kill the final 35 seconds of this one.
And there was an interesting formation there. The Eagles one time had one of the most bizarre plays in the National Football League against the Giants when the Giants fumbled a situation like that. And they came up with this formation where they put the man far deep to void against that.
So the Eagles have defeated San Diego as they allow the last 10 seconds. The Chargers without timeouts to tick down. A big victory for Philadelphia. They go to 3-5. And Buddy Ryan's troops please the sellout crowd here in Philadelphia. Once again, our final score, 23-7, Philadelphia over San Diego. Kevin Slayton along with Dave Rowe saying so long from